I'm a nobody, baby. Light me up, pour me up. I'm gone. Got me seeing genies in a bottle. Liquor got me feeling like a wrestler. Call me Santiago. Everyone listen when I speak. Don't know shit about shit, but I know ball.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Two Nobodies with the Mic, episode 135. Thank you guys for joining us. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Instagram. Ton to talk about today. It's another beautiful Wednesday, May 21st, 2025, y'all. And we're about to get into it. Let's talk about, let's go into introductions. Eddie Money on vacation on my island of beautiful Puerto Rico. Is he coming back today, CJ? Is he lost?
I don't know. Last time I saw him, he was in the jungle with the anacondas and shit. So I don't know.
There's no anacondas.
There was anacondas and alligators and crocodiles and shit.
There's a bunch of little tiny coqui frogs. That's as dangerous as it gets in Puerto Rico. There's iguanas and coquis.
No anacondas. He's not in the Amazon and not in fucking Puerto Rico.
Where I saw it, looked straight out the Amazon for sure.
If he was wrestling some anacondas, that sounds like a gay porn site.
I think he does that on a regular though. Wrestle anacondas.
Uh-oh. Well, anyways, guys, let's go to the intros. CJ Wowo, executive producer, Natty champ, state champ, St. John Bosco, Division I, Air Force Academy, you name it, he's done it. And
gotta add that UCLA Bruin in there.
Now he is a clap, little A clap. Now at UCLA, you're gonna do all that shit, man. Are you gonna go to the games, DJ? Will you be the one student that goes to the football games?
I can't.
That's what you say now, and then you're like, hold on.
Right, and then as soon as 0-1, 0-2, and then I don't go.
Well, and then, of course, the guru, Rafa, he knows all, he sees all. We just played golf today, man, so been hanging out with Rafa all day. I played atrocious today, extremely difficult. Rafa, always crushing it. Rafa, how's it going, man?
Good, baby. Good. Real quick, by the way, Zach wants a Pacers prediction before the game tonight. I'm gonna go with the Knicks. I think that place is gonna be rocking tonight.
Oh, that whole city is on fire, man. They've been foaming at the mouth for 50 years for a winner in New York, right?
Other than the Yankees.
Other than the Yankees.
And the Rangers once in a while.
Yeah, that's right. Messier and the Rangers and what was the awesome just G'd up goalie? What, not Lundqvist.
Yeah, Lundqvist. Dude. Was it Mike Richter?
No.
Yeah, it was Henry. Might have been Henry Lundqvist.
Yes, dude. Have you seen him on ESPN? The dude dresses like $1 trillion. The suits he wears still.
Dude, all the hockey guys. Let's be real. All the hockey analysts, they dress fucking fire. They're all like Jay Wright.
Dude, even today I saw PK Subban. He was just wearing this like fuchsia and the shoes, like the suits, man. They just, man.
Hockey analysts and they're fire. They dress fire for sure.
Yeah. Barry Merrill's always had
Is there
style.
A difference? Because I feel like I don't see anybody dressed not nice on TV.
You know what? No, you know what? That's bullshit. NFL and NFL Network, they dumbed down. Yeah, they really dumbed down the suits with the tennis shoes, and I don't have a huge problem with wearing, a blazer and suit pants and tennis shoes, but once in a while, man, throw on some gaiters, man.
Damn right, baby. Gators.
He basically just unintentionally spoke about all the black ESPN analysts that got on sneakers because I have not seen anybody else besides the black.
No. I've seen a couple white dudes.
All of them.
Yeah.
Dan
Orlovsky.
Never seen a pair of slip-on Gucci loafers in his life, man.
Oh, Skip Bayless does it too with the Jordans. You're right.
Yeah, Skip does that shit too.
You're right.
Dude, why you
Dick
race baiting
riding,
me,
though.
CJ? Why you race baiting me already?
We're early here. It's early.
You
We gotta
Ryan,
mix in
you
some
Ryan
stuff
Clark right out
here.
the gate. Ryan
We
Clark
gotta,
right out the
we
gate.
gotta, try to spice it up.
That's wild. But guys, listen, we are live. We welcome all the shit talking. Go ahead and hit us up on Instagram. You guys have questions, comments, whatever it is. It's an interactive show. We love participation. So, but we only have one rule. Only one rule on this show, CJ. Go ahead and let them know, man.
Don't be a loser.
Don't be a loser, man, because we're gonna talk some lines, money lines, teasers, super teasers, and we never tell you that's some gay ass shit. Don't be doing super teasers, man.
Damn right. Gamble responsibly. Don't be a loser. Don't lose it all, baby.
That's what I was trying to say. Thank you, Rafa. That being said, let's get into our first segment, man. And we do it every week. We do You're Fired. You can also hire someone that just really pushed you to your limits, and you just have to let something off your chest. You want to fire someone, you want to hire someone. There's plenty of that shit to go around today. I choose to keep it positive today, and I want to give my flowers, as you young ones would say, or props, as us 50-year-olds would say. But I want to hire Aaron Judge from California, Central Valley, Fresno State. I mean, listen, everyone knows Aaron Judge is great, but what he's been doing this year so far, I feel it's not even being talked enough about, Rafa. Let me just go over his numbers really quick, okay? So he's second in home runs with 16. Ohtani's first, but almost every other category as a hitter right now, Aaron Judge is number one, and it's not even close. OPS, he's hitting 1.253. Batting average 403, Rafa.
My God.
How hard that is, especially for a guy who has a lot of pop in his bat, who swings. I don't want to say swing for the fences because he's so powerful, but to be hitting 403, it's, dude, did Barry even get in that?
I mean, it's still early, but
Early,
we are at the end of May. So we
Yeah.
are at the end of May. We are 40 plus games in. So yeah, definitely it deserves respect. There is no doubt about it. And I think he could end the season hitting somewhere 360, 370.
Whoo, that'd be crazy. So RBIs, he's first with 43. Runs, he's second only to Ohtani with 45 runs, and that's because Ohtani leads off. So he has, a lot more, opportunities to get, and he has better hitters hitting behind him. Hits, he's first, and the next guy is like 11 hits behind him. He has 73 hits already. So I obviously I'm a Dodger fan, but I can appreciate greatness, and even defensively, I saw him make some plays defensively, man. And at this pace, Rafa, my question to you is, there's been some captains, right? Don Mattingly, you have Mickey,
Thurman Munson.
Thurman Munson,
Yogi.
number 7,
Mickey Mantle.
Mickey Mantle, obviously, Derek Jeter, right? Probably, I don't know if he's considered. I would love to ask Yankee fans who they would consider the best captain of all time.
Oh, it's Derek Jeter.
Yeah, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, at this pace, can Aaron Judge's legacy, obviously he needs some championships, but at this pace, can he surpass Derek Jeter's legacy and be the greatest captain of all time?
No.
Really? Because you constantly talk shit about Jeter.
You know that.
I know. That's why I'm shocked.
Yeah, but Derek Jeter won so much, and he's arguably one of the 2 best teams of all time. He was part of that team, right? He was the captain of that team. And so, Aaron Judge hasn't won anything yet. Now, he fucking reels off fucking 5 World Series in 9 years or whatever. Then we're talking something. But at the end of the day, I mean, he can have 5 fucking MVPs, in by the time 2030 rolls around, right? He still won't be a better captain than Jeter if he does not win multiple World Series. So, but he is a phenomenal talent.
Derek Jeter. Jeter.
Number
I had
2.
to say it. Yeah, biracial agent or biracial angel. I just saw the Lucky, what's that movie called? The Good Guys or whatever. That's too good. Too good. So anyone else? That's my hiring, man. I kept it positive.
I got
CJ?
a firing. I got
Okay.
a firing. I'm gonna fire.
Fire
I'm
away.
gonna fire. I want to fire a multitude of. I want to fire a handful of people.
Oof.
All right. I want to.
Loose.
I
Making
want to
cuts.
fire a handful of people. I want to start by firing number 1, Cheryl Swoops,
Yes.
ESPN. Okay. ESPN, not the entire company, although we should, because for the most part it's been kind of ass. But them putting this out there, this supposed rivalry of Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. And listen, one's black, one's white. And people can think Magic and Bird. Magic and Bird were superstars when they came in the league, while they were in the league. Angel Reese is not a superstar. She is the woman version of Ben Wallace or Dennis Rodman, somewhere in between there. And Caitlin Clark is the female version. And now listen, I'm not talking about playing styles, okay? Because she's closer to a Curry style player than she would be to Michael Jordan. But she is, in my eyes and in my opinion, she is the Michael Jordan of the WNBA. Okay. And there is no doubt about it that the viewership has gone through the roof because of this young lady. And for Angel Reese and come out on podcasts and all sorts of shit talking about, oh, it's because of Me Too. It's really not. If we look at, and we can look at it, I'm talking about statistically speaking. Okay. I don't give a shit that she comes on million podcasts. You cannot compare one player with the other. Okay. Look at Caitlin, what she does. And by the way, Caitlin Clark is 4-1 against the Chicago Fever in her first season and now a couple games in, right?
Blew up by 35.
Yeah, they won by 30 something the other night. So she's 4-1 against the Sky. I'm sorry, I said the Fever. She's on the Fever. So she's 4-1 against the Sky. Last game she played, she puts up a triple-double. They win by 35. Angel Reese, non-factor, because she's a non-factor player. This woman who believes that she is even on the level of these elite players in this league is beyond me. And it's mind-boggling. And all these morons like Cheryl Swoops and Ryan Clark and ESPN, for their ratings, they put her up there. And they make up this ridiculous rivalry. And if we look at just the numbers, Angel Reese's numbers, this woman shot 39% from the field last season, okay? Her 39%. You want to know what's a ridiculous number? You know what the average field goal distance is for her?
Oh, I was going to say.
It's
3 feet?
15 feet.
Her average distance is 5.2 feet. Okay? So that her average distance is 5.2 feet per shot attempt, all right? Last year, she shot 39% from the field. From 3 feet to 10 feet, her shooting percentage is 29%. Last year, 29% from 3 feet to 10. And she's averaging 5.2. That's her average distance. Asia Wilson, who's a center, who's arguably the best player in the league today, and multiple MVPs, championship, all that, right? She averages twice the distance. She averages 10.4 feet, and she shoots it at 51%. So how can you bring in an irrelevant offensive player and compare them to what we can arguably say is the best offensive weapon you have ever seen in your league and
100%.
try and create this rivalry? It is ridiculous. It's not even close. But since Angel's an outspoken young lady, okay, and Caitlin is very quiet and white, okay, because if Caitlin was black, this would be a non-issue. This would be a non-thing.
100%.
It wouldn't even be a fucking rivalry. Okay, it wouldn't be anything. So we're expecting. It's like, you know, when we brought up earlier, Kobe's rivalry with Tyronn Lue or Raja Bell.
Yeah.
Like, dude, or Ruben Patterson, like those are non-irrelevant players. And in my eyes, Angel Reese is just a glorified rebounder. She is a female version of Dennis Rodman or Ben Wallace or one of those players that all they can do is rebound the basketball. Her scoring efficiency is awful. It really is. Last year, she had one good game against Indiana where she put up like 25 and 16. After that, I think that was the best game she had. Other than that, she's a non-factor. She's a non-factor on the offensive side of the ball, period. You cannot shoot 39% when your average distance is 5 feet. And by the way, that distance, 5 feet, you shoot it at 29%. She's an awful basketball player on the offensive side of the ball. I'm sorry.
CJ, can you put up Zach's comment for bigger? Is that possible for you to do?
Yes, your opinion doesn't matter, Rafa, because you're not married to a black woman.
Touche, Zach.
Thank
Touche.
you.
Shay.
My issue is Angel Reese herself, because I actually agree with RG3 in that it is almost obvious at this point that there is some personal animosity from Angel Reese to Caitlin Clark. It is so obvious. Angel Reese cannot go on social media without inadvertently or directly mentioning Caitlin Clark's name. It's her name to fame. Like, without Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese is just such a non-factor individual in this league. She's a bench player probably. She doesn't even probably play, but because she has this rivalry with Caitlin Clark, the WNBA is like, this is profitable right here. This is how we grow our league.
Real quick, CJ, I'll disagree with you there because she does average 13 rebounds a game. Last year, she started the season. Now she's had 34 rebounds in 2 games.
She's a great rebounder.
So a player who can rebound the basketball, yes, she will start. It's not that she does start and she deserves to start because she can rebound. Now,
Rafa,
at the end of the game,
can I say this?
Go ahead.
I've seen a lot of rebounders like her. The issue with women, different from men, is that women they can't dunk. So a lot of those shots near the basket, they miss. And I've seen a lot of players like her that are just rebound hawks. So on this team, yes. On this team, on the Chicago Sky specifically, yes. But there's so many players that are like her. She's so replaceable. And I do think at this point, like, if you go to the play itself where Caitlin Clark fouled her, Cheryl Swoops is just so hell-bent on, like, oh, that was a flagrant foul. It's like, no, it's not. It was a play on the basketball. It was a hard foul, but it wasn't a flagrant. And obviously the way Angel reacted, I'm sorry, it's very obvious to me, at least, that she realizes that the media attention is never going to be on her because Caitlin Clark is such a better basketball player.
Superior. And by the way, shout out to Kenya Martin and Nick Young and Gilbert Arenas, who actually defended the play.
Right.
But Cheryl went
foul.
on that.
Good foul.
It's a great
It's a
foul.
good foul. She can't shoot the free throw. She shoots 49%.
She missed the technical foul.
foul.
Yeah. She missed the technical foul free throw.
Yeah, she missed the flagrant foul free throw. But listen, last year, Cheryl did the same shit where she advocated for Angel Reese to be the rookie of the year.
Yes.
Like, we'd be out of our fucking minds. And that is the problem. And CJ, I'm glad you're on, and I'm glad you're on camera, because that is the fucking problem with the majority of black media. Black
You're not
analysts.
wrong.
Not all of them. I'm not saying all of them, but there is.
But it's an overwhelming majority. I'm sorry.
It's an overwhelming majority of them that it's always to defend the black player, especially against a white player, and it is ridiculous.
Go ahead.
Can I even narrow it down more, because I thought about this? Let's say black media, whatever, that I think. Because and we've all been in locker rooms, we've played organized sports, college locker rooms, basketball, football, baseball, even in high school. And I'm talking about men's. It's the most colorblind environment in team sports. But with women, why is it with women it is so magnified? I feel like this is really only a problem with women, with women's tennis, with definitely in women's basketball. It's so, why is it not the same with men? You know, it's very inclusive. Men, they don't give, if you can ball, you can ball. You don't in NBA, you don't see this problem. Even in college, if you're a white dude that can ball, you don't, I mean,
you're celebrated.
Yeah, but for some reason, you know, it's this thing with women. You know, we all know that women can be petty, men can be petty too, but you bring the race thing into it, it's even worse. So yeah,
Eddie, it's the perfect example to put next to it is look at the celebration that Cooper DeJean got in the NFL versus what Caitlin Clark got. Cooper DeJean was like, "Oh, we got a white quarterback, let's go." But to answer your question, Eddie, specifically in the WNBA, it's because the league was initially mostly black women playing. You have Maya Moore and all of those players. But at the end of the day, when you see this white girl come in and completely take everything that you supposedly built, which was nothing because the league is subsidized by the NBA. But when you take that and this girl just comes in and she rips it and she's white, it's like, oh no, she didn't build this. She didn't do this. It's like, well, she kind of did because your league was not being, it wasn't making money.
I really think it's even more so. Definitely she's white, okay? But so was what's her name from UConn?
Breanna
Stewart or Deanna Taurasi, right? White girl. It's Caitlin Clark's style of play, and Rafa said it earlier. It's very Steph Curry like. We had never seen anything like Steph Curry.
Nothing.
Steph it's fire from 35 feet out and make it. Right. It's her style that it's so enthralling and it's a must-watch thing. I really believe, and I honestly believe this, if she was black and she played, there's still no one that plays like her, by the way.
Nobody.
There's nobody. We've seen the knockoffs of Steph Curry. We've seen the Trae Young, right? We've seen the Trae Young, and who else shoots, Dame Lillard. We've seen those type of knockoffs. But I really believe it's her style of play that's so intriguing. But but Rafa, I want to say this, like, why I don't get the animosity. She has brought so many eyeballs to the game, right? Like, why can't they just, because I just saw a compilation TikTok of hard fouls against Caitlin Clark.
Oh, she got shoved in the back last year by
yes,
wasn't it? Did
Kennedy Carter
in the back, right in the back?
I mean, that's just one play. The compilation was like 15 plays. There's clearly I wouldn't want to say a hit, but there's clearly animosity towards this young woman who's only making you guys money. And this might be a horrible analogy, Rafael, and this is what I wanted to ask you about the situation. Because at the very beginning, there was of Tiger Woods coming into the PGA. There was some pushback from the old man white group, and they weren't as quite accepting. It took 2-3 years to figure out, oh, wait, he's making the purses go up $1 million, $2 million. Is this a horrible analogy to say that she's like the Tiger Woods? That, I mean, golf has always been popular, but Tiger Woods took golf to a whole nother level. And at first he wasn't very accepted.
See, I don't know if I can compare it to that. And because the reason, when you see when we go out and play golf, there's still certain older white dudes that still kind of just give you like a look like, I wear backwards hat. I always wear a backwards hat when I play golf. And some guys just look at me like, kind of disrespecting the place.
We get it. We get it all the time. We pull up, bump and snoop. Oh, and we get that look almost every time.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's necessarily that. I just think, and CJ would be better. I can't even say what I want to say because I can't even say what I want to say.
Why not?
Because I can't. Because
is it a bad comparison?
It's not a terrible one, but it's not that. And the thing is, I'll tell you I'm going to tell you what I really think.
Yes, please.
Please. What I really think is that Black women in this country, a lot of them feel like they've been kind of passed down, thrown to the side a little bit, right? So
Mhm.
now in this league that's the majority black women, you bring in this white young lady who has taken the sport to the level they have never seen, period. Like you literally had teams move their games from their tiny little 3, 4,000,
Yeah.
5,000 arenas to 17, 18,000 seat arenas because of the white girl.
And
And
you've
it was
expanded
a
the team as well.
right. And so now you know, and that is like this was black women's sport. And now
Mm.
the white girl is the ticket.
Mm.
So for me, and CJ's black, so he has more experience with it, obviously, right? But to me, I feel like black women have always had that issue, and you always see them. Oh, it's because
Can-
we're kind of passed
Mm.
aside, and oh, it's a black woman, and you always hear, you know, these race baiting, oh, black queen, all that shit. And now you have a white girl come in and kind of and take over their sport, and that's why I think she's not being appreciated.
No, it's a fair stereotype. You know, the rich black man leaves the black. I mean, there's movies about it. Waiting to Exhale, where you know, the as soon as a black man gets successful, he ditches the OG wife that stood by him and goes with the white chick. But that what you explained, Rafa, to me, is exactly what Tiger Woods did. He wasn't accepted at first and raised the whole level of the game, brought more eyes, brought more money. And finally, the old white dudes at the country clubs started to realize, hey, this is a good thing. Do you think these the majority of the people that hate her will eventually realize and wake up and say, hey, this is a good thing?
No. No,
Rafa,
no,
Rafa-
because
go ahead, Rafa.
because for me with Tiger, right? So Tiger brought, you know, all the guys are playing their white, right? So
Yeah.
and now Tiger comes in, he's playing, and there was black players before Tiger, just not Tiger was elite,
Yes.
and so. But even after Tiger, now we have a lot more, you know, Puerto Rican
Color.
player, Venezuela. There's
Right.
more color. There's
sure.
more color in the game, and
Did we lose Rafa?
men get thrown to the side all the time. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
and
I
and
want to
you
just share
can't-
this. Oh, go
you
ahead.
can't throw black women to the side in their sport because there's going to be a bigger issue. You can throw white men to the side, nobody gives a fuck. You cannot throw black women to the side in their sport because you're going to have the issues you have.
But they're not
Well,
getting thrown
she's
to the
not-
side.
They're not getting thrown to the
They're
side.
not getting
They're still
thrown. That's the whole
dominant.
point.
That's like
They're not
Cooper
getting
that's,
the love. They're
that's
not
like
getting the
that
love,
is
bro.
like Cooper DeJean excelling the way he did, especially in Super Bowl, and saying, "Oh, we're shoving black players." No, we're not. They still
Yeah.
dominate the league. But to Rafa's point, I
Cooper
wanted to
DeJean was
share.
not on every fucking TV show though. And Caitlin Clark, it's when they talk about the sport, they basically only talk about her.
But Cooper, that's
Fair.
fair. She's yeah.
Fair.
But okay. To Rafa's point, I want to share this clip with Jason Whitlock to the black woman point.
For that, I think the WNBA and our team and our organization has done a
I apologize. It's this one.
This whole Angel Reese Caitlin Clark thing. That
Ooh,
everyone,
girl.
and now I'm looking, and it's obviously it will always be a story. I don't think it'll ever not be a story. I wonder if we're looking at it the wrong way, though, Jamel.
Okay, what way should we be looking at it?
Of course, there will always be the debate, the versus debate. There will always be knuckleheads like RG3 who have, you know, outlandish takes that are not accurate. There will always be people like you and I who will try to meet in the middle and explain things that America just will never understand when you're a brown girl. There are just certain things you'll just never understand. There's a trauma sometimes that we carry around that is inherent, that is passed down from generation to generation, no matter how much healing and therapy we are in. It just is what it is.
So that's what that is.
Okay, so they brought in RG3, right? Let's get into this because this is like I said, this is a big reason why Rafa and I wanted to start this show, because ESPN went so far left and they lost a lot of fans. You know, I don't want politics in my sport. I'm not a political person, and it just went, and they're afraid to say certain things. We wanted to do this podcast because we wanted to tell our truths, and we felt like that wasn't happening. So if you guys don't know, the whole beef with Ryan Clark, ESPN podcast, RG3, also an employee of ESPN. What exactly
I don't think he is anymore, actually.
is he? Oh yeah, you're right. You know what? They fired him. Yeah, when they did the whole, they cut a bunch of people. RG3 obviously married to a white woman. He's very prevalent on social media. A lot of funny shit on social media. The whole croissant thing. That's horrible. But what was so offensive that RG3 said? Can you guys enlighten me, please?
CJ, what do you think?
To answer your question, there was nothing that was said that was offensive. It was.
She just called him a knucklehead.
She called him a knucklehead, right? And so that was the most personal thing that was said amongst both of them. RG3 simply said what I said earlier, was that he obviously feels like there is a direct animosity from Angel Reese to Caitlin Clark, and it's obvious in the way that she responds. Example one, the foul. And you had Ryan Clark and others saying, oh, he's taking the Dave Portnoy picking on her and he's not defending her, the not defending a sister type of thing. And it's like, no, bro, he's just giving his take. He's not a race baiting bitch like all of you happen to be.
I don't expect every Puerto Rican from Downey to defend me, or every Mexican American. I don't expect people that look like me to always defend me if I'm in the wrong. I don't even expect them to defend me if they don't know me or know my character. If you really want to have equality, then they get to know a person by their character and not by how they look. Which is exactly what racism is against. You are taking sides just because someone looks like you, whether gender, whether religion, whether skin color. That's exactly what America needs to go away from. Am I way off on this?
You preaching to the choir here.
You're 100% right, Eddie. You're 100% right. But at the end of the day, you just saw two women out there, right there on that clip, defending, and they brought it up, their trauma, which is what I was alluding to. They have that they feel that they've been thrown to the side for so long. But since we're on this sports topic, it's not all black women. All black women don't defend black women. They only defend the ones that think like them. Because you had a black woman named the president at FAMU, okay? And because she doesn't think the way they do, all the students knocked her for it. They literally, so you got a black woman.
That's not no exaggeration either. I mean, completely dismantled her, defamed her on social media.
You had a black woman become the president of the university, and you clearly smashed her. And that's what they're doing. They only side with Angel Reese because she thinks like them, and she's exactly like them, and now battling a white girl. If Caitlin Clark we said it all the time. If Caitlin Clark was not white, this is a non-issue. It doesn't even exist.
There it is, man.
I agree. Now Rafa, have you fired your
Yeah, I fired Cheryl.
I haven't fired my person yet.
Okay.
And I'm gonna even get more controversial because why not? Because we're here and that's what I want to do. California high school sports is the biggest disappointment to me since I've graduated high school, right? We had earlier this week a transgender boy, win the high jump and completely get rid of, dismantle opportunities for these young women that are out here. And I'm going to fire California high school, the CIF. Like, this is not acceptable. You have young women who have worked their entire lives to craft their sport for an individual to, at some point in their life, think that they're a girl and compete with biological girls and win, not just, get fifth place or sixth place, win the damn thing and win the state title in long jump. and break records doing it. And I just think that this is unacceptable. We're at a time and place where we have to understand that men and women are different and we have different abilities, especially when it comes to sports. And people and politicians and legislators that think that that's acceptable, it's not. We got to get back to reality here. So I want to fire CIF. We need to return back to normalcy in California.
I mean, it seems very commonsensical. I know California lacks a lot of that. I feel like though, CJ, until liberal women, Republican, conservative women, libertarian women, I feel like until they stand up and say this is wrong, like it's just wrong. You want to believe in?
There's plenty of Republican and conservative women that are saying this is wrong, Eddie.
Yeah.
Plenty of them. The thing is, in this state, they don't have any respect from the population in California. So, and look, I'm going to tell you, we posted a video on our group chat the other day. I think it was Rich, the boy who's like 12, right? And he's firing away playing softball with girls.
Oh, wait, that's a boy?
Oh, that's a boy. That was a boy in Minnesota.
The one, wait, is this the one where the coach said it wanted to see a birth
No,
certificate?
no, not that one.
Okay.
It was posted last week in our group chat.
Okay, I don't know if I saw that one.
Oh yeah. No, it's a boy, I think it was 12 years old, and he's up there just fanning all these girls. And to me, I'll tell you something. I don't have a daughter that plays softball. My daughter's never played softball. But to me, when I saw this, and I sent it to CJ, and I told him, I said, for me, this is perfect. We need this because you need this. And I don't want to I'm not praying for harm on any child, okay? But when you look at the sport of softball, the majority of those little girls, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, they're liberal, okay? They're a little bit on the on the left side. So when those little girls take a line drive off the fucking dome by this fucking 12-year-old boy who, if you let him keep playing, by the time he's 16, he's going to be an animal playing softball, hitting line drives from your little girl who's maybe throwing 55 or 60 from the mound at 60 feet away. What are their bases? Imagine that third baseman or that pitcher, okay, who I think they play at 48 feet or whatever, or 45. I don't know what it is for girls softball. Imagine them taking a line drive. Is that when those liberal leftist ladies that are taking their daughters to play softball are going to realize that fucking men and young boys cannot play sports with girls? Like, I don't understand. And I told CJ, I'm glad I saw it. I'm glad it's happening. Because when that motherfucker tees off on a bitch, there's going to be a problem. And you saw it last year with the girl at San Jose State, the guy who was playing with the women. How many noses what did he break? Two girls' noses? Two young ladies, straight to the face.
I have so many questions. I'm so confused. But there's
Eddie's face is just so
Eddie, it's a 12-year-old boy playing softball with girls.
But she's not a transgender, right? Like,
it's a boy, transgender boy.
But
it's a boy.
Yeah. How is a 12-year-old transgender?
Oh, Eddie, are you kidding?
Hello.
Oh, Eddie, you got to watch the news, bud. There's
I don't.
Well, there's parents that
blame
say
you.
that their daughter told them at
That's
1 year old
yeah.
So you
have me on for yapping because I have a ton of questions for that shit.
But Eddie, yeah, dude, like, so you can't have male and female sports. It just doesn't make any fucking sense.
I hate to be devil's advocate here, okay? Because I agree with that 100%. But Sonny, my son, who's a successful wrestler, his biggest competition, and this is pre-puberty now, mind you, but there has been freshman high school girls that compete in men's wrestling. Now there is girls wrestling now and boys wrestling in high school, but it's not as uncommon as you think for a girl to wrestle at these light weights, 106, 113, and have success against high school boys. Now these are 106, 113.
Let me ask you
jump
something.
in?
Hold
Oh,
on, CJ. Let me
go
ask you
ahead.
something, Ed.
Yeah.
How many times has someone died on or suffered severe injury,
Mhm.
okay, from another athlete on the wrestling mat? Maybe a broken arm happens, concussions happen, guys butt heads, whatever. As far as actual physical injury,
Yeah, there's been
like
a bunch of spinal. Yeah, there's
right, but because there's techniques and stuff. But put it in boxing. If you had a female boxing a male, that is a
Yeah.
problem. If you had an
For sure.
all-girls football team and you line up CJ at nose tackle to
Yeah.
run over the offense, that is the difference. So when you have basketball is different because the physicality isn't there. Okay, but you cannot have men playing hockey against women. You cannot have men playing softball against girls. You cannot,
Yeah.
it cannot happen because a
Yeah.
line drive, we've seen many times pitchers in Major League Baseball and high school baseball at 10U, 11U, 12U take line drives off the face. And that's male to male. Imagine a girl taking a line drive off the face from a boy.
No,
That is the difference.
I agree.
My-
I agree.
My only point, and we can stop talking about this because we're 40 minutes in. But my only point is, for the competitiveness sake, right? Men's sports is naturally more competitive than women's sports. So for women,
no. I gotta stop. That's
you don't
ridiculous.
agree. You don't agree with that?
Men's sports is more competitive than women's sports. What does that mean?
When you're talking about athleticism, when you're talking about
competitive.
speed.
Okay.
Well, not
I consider
competitive
it-
and athleticism is different. Like
Yeah.
Okay,
competitive,
I get you. So maybe wrong word. So men's sports is more
Physically.
athletic. Physically athletic.
Physically.
Physically competitive.
Okay.
I'll keep my main argument, but to be more accurate, physically competitive than women's sports, meaning that we jump higher, run faster, lift more,
Yeah,
are
okay,
naturally
yeah,
stronger
yeah,
and
yeah.
naturally bigger.
Yeah.
So for a female to come into a male sport and dominate is completely different. But to do the reverse, you are naturally not supposed to run as fast, shoot the ball better, and all that good stuff. So for you to transition to a men's sport and do that, even then, there's still going to be a barrier because at some point, puberty, as you said, puberty is going to separate that.
Mhm.
When you are a man and you're post-puberty or in the middle of puberty going into a women's sport, you're going to dominate most of the time. So that's my thing, is just, for a physical competitive nature.
Yeah. No, because I mean, you're a big UFC fan. Dana White was against women's sports, and you know this for a fact. UFC, some of the women's fights are technically and competitively
no, they're great.
sometimes more entertaining. Yeah.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. But you cannot put a female
No,
UFC
no.
against a male.
I'm not arguing that.
That's where we're at. That's what we're
Yeah.
talking about. And you cannot have, for me, like basketball, the physicality is different. But for softball, because you're using a bat, okay, you are literally, dude, there's some of these kids hit the ball, and I'm talking like 15, 16-year-old kids are hitting the ball off a baseball bat at 90 miles an hour, 95, 100, and so on. So imagine a kid at 16, at full, going through puberty, at 16 years old, teeing off on a 16-year-old pitcher. He can hurt her. He can hurt the third baseman, the shortstop, the second baseman, the first baseman. They can get hurt really bad, really bad.
This is, and to take it a step further, I was a football coach, and I was a football coach for a very awkward age. I coached 12 and 13-year-olds. So I had kids that were 4 years away from puberty. And then sometimes you'd question, I'd get film. There was this team, Oxnard, and they were just, they had like these 4 Samoans and Mexicans that looked like they drove to the game. Now, everyone, I want to see their birth certificates. Listen, people hit puberty. Listen, I was this big. I was a dominant ass 6th, 7th, and 8th grader. Yeah, I was 5'8" and built. I played quarterback. I was everything. I was a bad mofo. I stopped growing in 8th grade. So, but it's really a puberty thing, right? But CJ, real quick, I want to ask you this because you called out California, okay? And I'm, like I said, I'm not is this the only state that this is happening in?
Hell
No,
no.
it's happening in
Maine,
Minnesota.
Okay.
Maine,
Maine.
Minnesota, the whole New England area, really. You can really take both coastlines and a little bit of the Blue Belt, so Michigan, that area, and it's happening there. It's not happening in the country. It's happening on the coastlines.
Okay. I would
Right, so
love
it's happening. It's
I would love
happening
to see a
literally-
list.
It's
of
literally
states.
happening, Eddie, in states that vote Democrat 99% of the time. That's where
That's
it's
the-
happening. That is the accurate truth to it. Is that
is-
that's where it's
there is
happening.
not
Not
one
every not
Republican
every
state.
state on either coast votes.
With the exception
uh,
of Florida and North Carolina, South Carolina, where
South
that's not happening.
Carolina. I mean, yeah, okay.
Where
That's why I
that's
said.
not
That's why I
happening.
specified the New England area, but that coastline, and then you get Michigan, Wisconsin, the Blue Belt area, and then you take our entire coastline. That's where it's primarily happening. But as soon as you get into the country, all that policy that shit goes out the way.
But Eddie,
Fucking
you
Rick.
saw the girl last season, some handful of months ago from San Jose State, where Utah State wasn't playing. You know, they withdrew the games, and that's in volleyball. Because why?
Yeah.
Because a spike of a 6'2" male compared the speed compared to a 6'2" woman is completely
Man,
different
get
coming off a spike.
Spalding tattooed on
Listen,
your forehead, man.
Serena said it some years back. I think she was on one of those shows.
I remember. I know
And
exactly what you're talking about.
You remember where she said, if
Hell
you know,
no.
they asked her, if you had to play against a male, she goes, I'd play against Andy Murray and the match would be 6-0, 6-0, and I'd be done in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And Serena Williams is the best female, in my opinion, the best female athlete of all time. Okay. And she admitted who Andy Murray, who is not even one of the 10 greatest tennis players of all time, very good in his era.
He had a little cup of tea.
Even him, she brought him up, and she's like, he'll smoke me. And this is the best female athlete we've ever seen, and the best female tennis player ever. And there's nobody even close to Serena. And Serena came out and said that. By the way, Serena, a black woman, came out and said that.
Can
I don't like
give
the way
you
you.
list, Eddie, that you want?
I don't like the way you said black woman, Rafa.
Can I give you the list that you want, Eddie? Just to
Yeah.
prove the point?
Let me just call out Rick Flores. Just had to call me out. Come on, Eddie, stop growing in 5th grade. that might be true. I was a bad man in 5th grade, man.
I feel like we haven't seen Rick in a while.
No,
Rick.
Rick's Rick's-
Really?
His
Okay.
birthday
But
coming
to
up,
get-
man.
To give you the list: California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, Washington, Wisconsin, and DC are all of the areas or states that allow that.
Wisconsin, Illinois. They.
I said Blue Belt. I said Blue Belt. Blue
Yeah.
Belt, Michigan, Wisconsin, that area.
Yeah, so
So that's
it's
that.
bad, Eddie, and it's going to get worse if they keep.
Listen,
If
I'm not
girls are gonna
arguing
get
against you
hurt.
guys. It needs
girls are going to get hurt.
common sense, like all politics, I feel. Common sense needs to be common sense. I don't know
Is what it
how
is,
else to
man.
say that. Will,
But-
shout out to Will, man.
Will in Iowa. All right. Eddie, you wanted to hit on this Brett Favre document that has come out. I think today. I saw it on Netflix.
I think it's coming out today. You know, let's talk some NFL King, man. I haven't watched it yet, but there is a ton of bad, just not bad reviews, but they say it's going to be really, really bad for Brett. And Brett Favre, sort of a folk hero in all of sports. I mean, I don't think it's a stretch to say Brett Favre is a top 10 quarterback all time, and maybe a top 5 personality in the NFL. Was loved. Brett Favre, when his dad died, went into Oakland, threw for 400 yards, and was applauded in on Monday night in the black hole. Beloved athlete. He was one of us. Pop open, a 12er of Yingling beer, and a lot is I've seen some snippets and stuff, and it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. I'm just curious to get your guys' opinion on this is the new era of you can't hide, social media, and we all know the controversy of sort of him taking money out of the state of Mississippi from welfare, giving it to whatever it is. But I'm really curious, and I'm curious to know your guys' opinion on his legacy? Is it going to be a Pete Rose, Shoeless Joe Jackson type? I don't want to say O.J. Simpson because he killed some people, but but a fall from glory for sure. Brett Favre, and especially in Green Bay, was just beloved athlete, and it's not going to be good. Just curious on your opinion on this doc and how you think things will turn out for him. Is he going to have to move to what's a big country? I mean, he's a country dude from Mississippi. Maybe if he just stays in Mississippi, he'll be good in his little
I actually
cocoon.
do have an opinion on this. And
Yep.
I think after the Trevor Bauer situation and after those things kind of keep popping up, people are starting to, obviously don't know the details, the ins and outs, but people are starting to get into the mindset of innocent until proven guilty. Like until we get all of the factual information, stop killing these people's character assassination these people. Like let's see all of the information and then let's give the public opinion. But I think that people are going to wait and see how this develops before we just kill off.
Especially when it comes to a documentary.
Right.
Documentaries are supposed to be shocking and they're going to give you the
Provocative.
narrative, right? The provocative. Just a quick analogy. There was on Netflix, I forget, I'm sure you know what it was, Eddie or CJ. It was a documentary about meat eaters and being a vegetarian and how it hurts you in sports and how we're not meant to eat meat and this and that. And I remember like my family and Sonny in high school as a junior went vegetarian for like 3-4 months. And I talked to it was so shocking, right? And they had so much of evidence and proof on their side. And Ruben Valencia, my mentor and Sonny's high school coach, pulled me aside. He's like, Eddie, I saw it. It's a documentary and it's supposed to be shocking and it's supposed to be this and that. And it was the whole birth, that whole thing. I forgot what it was called, Game Changers or something like that. The whole thing, not Dana White, but Joe Rogan went on a carnivore diet because of it. Liver King was born out of that documentary. So like you, CJ, I have the same opinion. Documentaries are supposed to be shocking and really hit you in the face. So I agree with you, man. Like people need to step back. Not everything that you see on TV or not every person they bring on is credible and take it for what it's worth. What do you got? What does Rick have to say?
He says, I think people that love the man still love the man. However, the people who love the documentary will see it and say, oh, wow, and say that was then and can imagine. Nobody is perfect. Nothing is perfect.
I think that's so well
Great
said.
take.
Rick, that is so well said. Great take.
My
Go ahead,
opinion,
Ross, my bad.
my opinion, because you said, is it going to affect his legacy? And for me, with the exception of OJ, because he supposedly murdered 2 people. Right. And man, I say
Hold on.
supposedly.
Do we have breaking news? Do we have breaking news, Rafa?
Man, I said supposedly. If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit, baby. That's all. Listen, I say supposedly because he wasn't convicted. Okay.
Right.
And there's plenty of proof that he did it. Whatever. I'm saying supposedly. And I say a lot of controversial shit. But to me, if it don't fit, you must acquit, baby. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
But for me, I have with the exception of OJ because it was murder. I have a problem with people affecting players, athletes, their accomplishments that they accomplish, whether it was on the field, on the court, on the ice. I have the two mixing. Like I hated the fact, and I don't like SC at all. But to me, when you took the Heisman away from Reggie Bush, you took away the accomplishments that he had on the field. And now they gave it back to him. But you, for whatever it was, 8, 9, 10 years, whatever, I don't remember the duration. You took that away from him, which took away the accomplishments of him on the field. Whatever Brett Favre has done off the field, that doesn't take away from how great he was on it. A 2-time Super Bowl champion, I believe it was twice, MVPs, et cetera, et cetera. That doesn't take away from his accomplishments as an athlete. He may be a terrible fucking human being, as we've seen many of us are. But your accomplishments, to me, in your profession, is still your accomplishments, and that should not be like Pete Rose. Yes, he fucked up. We covered it last week. We know he did, but there's no doubt that he was the hit king. There was no doubt about it. There's
Charlie
no
Hustle.
doubt that he's one of the 10 best baseball players of all time, and
Facts.
we're not going to put him. We're not going to enshrine him into the Hall of Fame that he deserved to be in. Of an athlete. And there's not a Hall of Fame of how much of an asshole you were. It's a Hall of Fame of how good of a baseball player you are, how good of a football player you are, and so on. The Hall of Fame is for your athletic accomplishments. It has nothing to do with how much of a piece of crap you are off the court, the field, the ice, and so on. So to me, the documentary, whatever it is, it doesn't take away from what Brett did on the field. And for me, his teammates, whatever he did on the side or whatever, it doesn't take away from what they accomplished together with the Green Bay Packers. That's my opinion.
I love it. By the way, my wife wants to induct me first ballot to the Asshole Hall of Fame.
You see?
Yes.
First ballot.
I personally want to induct Antonio Brown to the first ballot of the Asshole Hall of Fame.
You see, they tried to jump him for his chain.
Yes,
Yeah,
they did try. They did.
Did they get it? Did they get it?
I don't know if they got it, but they jumped his ass for sure.
He went down swinging though, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. He didn't get
I hate that shit, man. Good for AB, dude. I like Antonio Brown.
No, I'm joking. I love his Twitter rants are just too
Oh
good.
yeah, he's entertaining as hell. I don't like him because he swindled the fucking Raiders out of a shit ton of money.
Well, that shit happens. It's not the first time somebody swindles.
No, he took money and never fucking played a snap. Okay, there's different. That's different. Okay,
Jamarcus Russell swindled everyone to draft him first.
Yeah, but
there's plenty of cats.
He went out there and sucked. That was our fault. That wasn't Jamarcus Russell's fault. Antonio Brown 100% got paid and said, "I don't want to be here, man," and got out.
But
so
to our last topic before we get into go ahead.
Real quick, CJ, because you had mentioned the Trevor Bauer thing. And today, I don't know if you saw, but the quarterback, I think it's Ratcliffe from BYU, a lady came out. There's a report that came out that in 2023, he supposedly raped a girl. He choked her, so on. And the Provo Police Department wanted to keep it quiet. And they told her about it or whatever. They told her to keep it quiet. That is her story, according that the police department came. And to me, with these athletes, there's a story there. So to me, we have to give these athletes, because of the Trevor Bauer case, we need to give these athletes a little bit more of a benefit of the doubt.
Some landing space.
Yes.
We have to.
Landing space.
I feel like people, because they see these athletes on the high pedestal, and it's normal people like us, right? Nobody's like us. They're constantly seeing these people on this pedestal, and they're constantly see them, with fans and the glory and the fame. The moment that those people fall, I feel like people like us, not us, but proverbial us, are just like, yes, like I can't wait to see them come down from that. Yeah, like I knew it. I knew there was, and I feel like it's that envy. It's truly just envy when you get down to it.
I believe so as well, man.
Listen,
I believe so. Look at what Shannon.
No one wants to see the average human being doesn't want to see other, especially people that are failing in life or not successful. They don't want people to be at the top. They want people to fall. That is humanity. That is humanity. So, but yeah, that's crazy.
But to get into the last topic, Eddie, I know that you think that this quarterback class is just one of the best classes ever. And I just want you to get into the little details about what you think about this incoming quarterback class.
So, last year, dude, Rafa, it might be ever. Okay. It might be ever. And I'll go through my top 10, but let's go through, what's maybe considered the best is 1983. You have, some three Hall of Famers in one class. You have John Elway, Dan Marino, and Jim Kelly. 3 HOFers in 83. You could say that maybe 2 years ago, or 2 years ago at this point, with Jaden Daniels, Caleb, who hasn't shown much, and maybe a Drake May, also very good. There's the Josh Allen class. There's been some good ones, but next year when you look at teams like Indiana, the Colts, maybe even the Browns might be in this mix, but I'm just gonna go through top 10, and this year is gonna be extraordinary. There's some really a lot of talent, and go ahead.
Before you do that, I want to give you the list of the 1983 draft class, the 2004 draft class, and the 1999 draft class. Can I do that real quick?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
1983, John Elway, Dan Marino, Jim Kelly, and you had Ken O'Brien, Tony Eason, and Todd Blackledge. All right. In 2004, you had Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, and Ben Roethlisberger. And then 1999, you had Donovan McNabb, Dante Culpepper, and then you had Tim Couch, Achilles Smith, Cade McNown, and Sean King. So those are the
99 didn't work out too much.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm telling you, Rafa, this might be the year, and you might even say that the last 2 years weren't stellar, although Jaden Daniels looks amazing.
Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, you had two guys make the playoffs.
Yeah, and I really think Drake May is going to pan out. And the book, it's we should talk about Caleb and that whole book that came out. That's some crazy shit as well. But let me just go through 10 to number 1 in my opinion, okay? And I think these are guys that can all be successful in the NFL. At 10, you have Taylor Green out of Arkansas. At 9, you have John Matter out of OU. 8, Carson Beck, who I've never been a huge fan of. 7, now this is where I think the list gets interesting. And I looked at this and I said, he's too small. But Sam Levitt, the QB out of ASU. And I thought, just not big enough. He's 6'2", 200. He's 6'2", 200.
Not huge.
Yeah, that's a good size quarterback, and he's athletic, and he was a baller last year. Almost beat Texas. 6, your boy out of UCLA and out of Warren High School in Downey. You have Nico Yamamamamamamamamaya.
Sounds right. I think you nailed it.
Sounds right.
I think I nailed it.
Sounds right.
Yeah. Now here, the top 5. Drew Aller, who I wasn't a fan of, who Penn State might be the favorite to win it all. 6'5", big arm, athletic. I see this guy as being a top 5 pick.
I like that.
Then,
I like Drew Aller.
Yeah.
I like that. And I'll tell you right real quick, because Penn State, for what we've seen the last handful of years, probably the last 7 or 8, their offense isn't a high-powered offense. And he has been, but what Eddie's kind of saying is he can be a high-powered cat.
Yeah, he has all the tools. I just noticed I left someone off this list. I just noticed right now. Lander Sellers out of the USC on the East Coast, South Carolina. This guy has a ton of hype around him and has all the attributes you want. I have him at 4. Cade Klubnik, who people had as the number 1. He was the number 1 kid coming out of high school, going into South Carolina or going to Clemson. Cade Klubnik is another, to me, a top 5 pick.
Wow, you have turned on Cade because
I have.
You fucking hated on me last season.
I will never acknowledge that kid. I will never acknowledge him ever.
No. I think he turned the corner for me, man. A lot of it was,
I just don't acknowledge him.
A lot of people, like CJ and I, who are DJ fans, just had some animosity towards him.
Good. He's so good with these Samoan last names.
Right. He's perfect.
I nailed it. Right. And then, who I think might be the best quarterback to come out of this draft is Nussmeier out of LSU.
Phenomenal.
Do you know that his dad is a offensive coordinator in the NFL? Like, you are getting someone who not only has the size, has the attributes, who plays for one of the best universities in football in the last 100 years. But this guy is going to understand the game, beyond a ton of people. Nussmeier, to me, I think might be the pick in this whole thing. And I don't know who his dad's OC for, but it's not a very good team. And can you imagine having father-son OC starting quarterback? That's a great storyline. And then, of course, you have Arch Manning, who
Zach hates.
does. I mean, Zach, he hasn't. Look at some of his highlights. Look at when he plays. He is a bona fide stud. He hasn't done anything, but neither have half of these dudes who I just mentioned on this list. And if you don't think he's going to be good, the one I just noticed who I don't have on this is DJ Lagway from Florida. And I love me a black mobile quarterback, man. That is my type.
Thank God you fucking got to mobile quarterback, because you
Mobile
said
quarterback.
black, and then you paused a little bit, and I said, shit's getting out of hand here tonight.
That is my type. I have a type at quarterback, and
I
black
see. Yeah.
black mobile is my type.
Wow.
So,
All right.
I'm just saying, man. The teams that didn't go quarterback, I think, and you're going to be able to get these guys at 17, 18, 19. That's why I really think.
So is this the best or is this the deepest?
Well, I mean, that's obviously you cannot grade yet. And to me,
The only person I really can't grade yet is Arch Manning.
You
can grade
can't.
the rest of them.
I just feel like you have to wait down the road for this, but you could have named 10 quarterbacks. I mean,
Yeah, I said deepest. The deepest.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
like last year, the last 2 years, you couldn't go 10 deep and be like, those guys could be starters. Right? You couldn't get past one in this fucking draft.
Two. Yeah.
So I'm just saying it could be epic. I'm really excited. And, an 83, man. And even O'Brien, who went to the Jets, was a great quarterback in 83. Blackledge was a disappointment out of Ohio State. Like he might have been considered to be the best one in that 83 class.
Who drafted him?
Oh, God. I want to say not the Browns. I'm not sure.
Who?
Nobody good.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Nobody.
So
Well,
listen, by the way,
go ahead.
Zach. So Zach's talking about Arch, and when you've seen Arch,
I said John Matter, Zach.
So when you see Arch and you want to knock him, Arch can run the ball. He can throw the ball. He has that. You're talking about the kid out of LSU. His dad's an offensive coordinator. This kid's two uncles are Hall of Famers, and Eli will be in, whether it's next year, the year after, he will be in. So that right there is a great head, on his shoulders, right? And so when you watch him play, the little bit that you saw at Texas, there is no doubt about it that he's one of the 3 or 4 best quarterbacks coming into the next season, next year for college football, and going into that draft class if he chooses to come out.
And by the way, Rafa, a lot of us youngins, and I say youngins, I'm going to be 52. A lot of people don't understand how good Arch Manning was. He just went to a new expansion team in New Orleans. So he went to the worst team and was like, he was a Jaden Daniels. He was a mobile, big, athletic, big arm, accurate quarterback. He just was on a shitty team for 10 years. If Arch Manning went to anywhere else but the Saints, he would be considered maybe a top 5, top 10 quarterback of all time. And then you would have 3 quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame: Arch, Eli, and Peyton. And they should put those boys in Kentucky and let them fucking plant their seed like a fucking quarter horse at Churchill
Oh
Downs,
my
man.
gosh, oh my gosh.
I'm just saying, man.
This went a wild turn.
Those boys have some super sperm.
He
Whoa.
went from I love black quarterbacks to super sperm.
Mobile.
Mobile.
Shit got real here.
Shit got real. To get even more real, we have the NBA Finals that have just, obviously have kicked off already.
The conference finals.
Conference Finals, I apologize. And so I just wanted to get your guys' takes on the conference finals. I don't have much to say.
So as we saw last night, Minnesota took a ridiculous amount of threes last night. And I don't know if you saw that, Eddie. They had
I think
there was like
listening to
five. There was like 5 minutes left in the game, and they had only taken 29 shots from 2-point shots.
Yeah.
And so that's not a recipe for you to win. For them, that's not their style. That was the Boston Celtics style. We saw what happened to them.
Yeah.
Whatever, they blew some leads or whatever. For me, I feel like these 4 teams that are left, any one of these 4 teams, their fan bases have to be, just stoked, because there's no real powerhouse. SGA is a phenomenal player. He won the MVP today. He's a superstar. There is no doubt about it. But when you look for in years past, when you look at the finals, right? Luka last year and Kyrie, and you had the Celtics with Tatum and Brown, and the year before you got the Joker, and there's always an elite player with a really good supporting cast. For me, the Thunder's supporting cast, they fit their role perfect. They understand their role. You're not going to see there where one of the Williams boys is sitting there going to shoot up, oh, I'm having my night tonight or whatever. I think that team is, and to me, any one of these 4 teams can win it all. I think, though, if we're looking at the 4, roster, head coach, all of it together, I want to give a little bit of edge. And I know the Thunder have been great all year long, but I want to give a little bit of the edge to the New York Knicks to win this title. And it would be phenomenal for the Knicks fans, for Stephen A., who said Knicks, grew up a Knicks fan. Yeah. It would be phenomenal for them to win it. Can they beat the Thunder in a 7-game series? Because watching the Thunder last night, and they were down early to Minnesota, and I think they got close to down almost 10, and then that huge turnaround the second half. Their defense is really, really good. Their supporting cast, they all understand it. And so, but even then, all 4 teams, you have to look at the 4 teams left. All of them believe they can win the title. Last year, when you looked at the handful of teams left, like, oh, the Celtics are coming. Luka's there. He's the best player in the planet. One of the best players in the world, and Kyrie and so on. So I'm giving the edge to the Knicks, but the Thunder, team-wise, it's probably one of the best teams in the last handful of years.
I'm gonna give my edge, and Rafa, you gotta own up on this. And the whole country, the whole media, everybody said OKC not ready, no experience.
Oh, I
no
did
experience. Too. Everybody. But here's why I think OKC is the favorite. So listen, Randall went off. That's the only reason they were close, because Randall went off on a 3-point, just went nuts off the 3-point in that first half last night. Why? And I'm not going to say I called this, but why I think OKC is a clear-cut favorite is because of their depth. And I think this is where the NBA is going. They are deep and they play defense. I don't know if you saw the clips of Caruso, fighting over screens on Ant. I think, playoff basketball is very physical. Every possession matters. And OKC has the most depth of any team. Sure, they don't have experience, but when you can rotate 8-9 guys fresh, and the only advantage you have to that is defensively, right? They play defense, and that's why I like OKC. I don't think it's going to be close. I really don't think it's going to be close. I don't think this Minnesota and OKC, I don't see this, because Ant's just not there yet. But let me ask you this, Rafa, because I thought about this. The bald eagle, Caruso, who the Lakers had, right? Or they called him the bald eagle. They had so many nicknames for him. He was beloved. And now you have AR-15, you have Reeves in LA. My question to you, Rafa, is like, who would you rather have? Was it a huge mistake to get rid of Caruso? Because he plays better defense than Reeves.
There's no doubt about it.
And you had him, right? And I know I hate to race bait you guys, but this is white on white. White on white. This is white on white. So you can't be called a racist. They're both. I always thought Alex Caruso was 1,000% from Italy or something. And then I heard him talk like that. That fool went.
No, well, he has to be like Italian or something. That name is.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Caruso.
There's a great Caruso's restaurant in Silmar. Definitely serving pizza. But I just, I love me some Alex Caruso, and he's one of those depth pieces at OKC. I mean, do you have a ton of them? You have a ton of pieces.
The thing is, they're all. That's the thing about the Thunder. You can and Detroit's team in 2004, they didn't have a superstar. They had really good players. Rip could score the basketball. Rashid was kind of a superstar, but he was fading already, and he was a very good offensive player. And then you had Ben Wallace, who was the best defensive player in the league at that time. On that team, that Chauncey Billups, a leader. You had Tayshaun, who can play the defense as well and can shoot the three. This team, it has one superstar in SGA, and all the other guys, and I think they played 10 men. The other 9 guys, they understand their roles, which is why, they could win it. I still don't think that they're going to get I think they're going to beat Minnesota. Because Minnesota, we can to me, Ant isn't totally there to lead the team completely. I believe. I still think they need a lot from McDaniels and Reed, and Gobert has to be able to rebound the basketball and have some buckets down there. So the Thunder, yes, you're right. Their fucking roster, Caruso's a player that every championship team needs.
Yes.
White, black, it doesn't matter. You saw when Denver, when they had KCP and Bruce Brown. You saw when the Spurs had Bruce Bowen. Like, you need those type of players to win.
3 and D. 3 and D.
Yes.
Baby.
And they have, and let's not forget Dort. They have a handful of 3 and D players, and they have their superstar. So the Thunder, I kind of lean more towards the Knicks a little bit because I like Tibbs, and I think Brunson is phenomenal. I mean, not as good as SGA, but I think a better scorer than SGA. And by the way, if they get to the finals, Tibbs will come out, as Adelman said, and if they come out and they play the Thunder, Tibbs will come out, as Adelman did in the Denver series at Charles, and we talked about last week that Charles shit on him for complaining about the bishop. The amount of fouls that SGA is getting right now is a ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean, the amount of foul calls he's getting in his favor. Last night, there were 2 where they weren't even close. They weren't even close, and he was getting these fouls.
Yeah.
And I think in the finals, when it's all eyes on that, you will get. He might not get all of that. And if he doesn't get that, he's still a phenomenal player. But if he doesn't get all of that, I think the Knicks will. I think the Knicks can beat them.
I mean,
and listen, it's the first game, by the way. Indiana's well in this series, obviously. Tyrese Halliburton's a phenomenal player, and they have great pieces. And Siakam has won a title.
Yeah,
as a number 2. So
can I just say this, and you can't tell me that I'm alone on this take. Every time they go to interview, you know how they do it, like before the first quarter or before the half times, and they interview Adelman. I'm like, why are they interviewing the towel guy? Like
the Nuggets coach?
Like, what?
He's the interim, but he did a good job.
He did a great job. It looks like, my God, it just looks so awkward when they interview him. And I know he comes, his dad was the man in Portland and so on and so forth. Listen, if I had a choice, I love the Knicks story. I love Julius Randle, also ex-Laker. To me, in the Eastern Conference Finals, I'm intrigued by the point guards. Tyrese Halliburton, I looked it up. Last series averaged 31 points, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds.
Oh, he's phenomenal. There's so much hate for that guy.
Can we get rid of the overrated?
Oh, are you kidding?
Can we get
you averaged 31 points?
31, 8, and 6.
Against what was come on. Like
31, 8,
not
and 6.
Come on.
Come on,
that man
man.
is not overrated.
Yeah. And yeah.
What do people say online? Like I've only seen
People
positive
Well, it's
say
stuff.
not online. He got voted by his peers most overrated player in the NBA. That's not online. That's why his dad wants to beat everyone up in the NBA. So
Yeah.
it's just wild, man. It's freaking crazy.
I think the Thunder series, when we're looking at it, the Knicks series, I think, can go 7. But when you're looking at the Thunder series, I think 5 or 6, the Thunder could get it done. From what you saw from Minnesota last night, if that doesn't change, so many threes for a team that wasn't great at shooting the three, not the way, let's say, the Celtics were or some of the other teams, I think that series could be over quick.
I think so too. I really do. Ant Edwards, for as talented as that young man is, and he's come out and said verbally, I don't want to be the face of the NBA. To me, that's a red flag right there. You will become the face of the NBA. You don't have to tell jokes and tell great commercials. Be the best player in the NBA, and you will be the face of the NBA. I know he doesn't want to do tricks and stuff, but to me, he just doesn't get to the rim as much as he should.
Right. I agree with you.
Yeah, and everyone scoffed and laughed at the Frenchman center.
Wemby? Gobert?
No, Gobert. Everyone really poo-pooed. They gave 5 first-round picks. The dude plays great defense. He's, obviously 3-time defensive player of the year, but I don't know if that was an overrated thing. I think his value is his value. He is, rebounder, changes, he's very tall, but he's not the most physically imposing person. But if you look back at that draft now, no one liked it. Everyone thought they overpaid. Danny Ainge overpaid, right, for that, I believe. But Gobert's, I think he's earned his money, man. I really do. He's not offensively, but he never was, as much as he gets offensive rebounds, but you saw what he did to the Lakers. He looked like fucking Shaquille O'Neal.
For a little bit.
Yeah.
For a little bit. But let's get to some get to some Major League Baseball.
Can we take a 30-second break or
yeah, let's do it. CJ?
Yeah.
Yes,
CJ?
sir.
I'm a nobody, baby. Light me up, pour me up. I'm gone. Got me seeing genies in a bottle. Liquor got me feeling like a wrestler. Call me Santiago. Everyone listen when I speak. Don't know shit about shit, but I know ball. Call me the guru. Bells coming ringing when I'm winning. Come on, I told you that's who. Specify, do it live. I told you. Hey, always coming with the heat. Riley with the facts. Jax, let them know. Eddie Money, Luke, CJ, replay my parlay. Hitting when I don't even know. I'm a nobody, baby. Light me up, pour me up. I'm gone. Got me seeing genies in a bottle. Liquor got me feeling like a wrestler. Call me Santiago. Everyone listen when I speak. Don't know shit about shit, but Don't be a loser, you know why. I'm a nobody, didn't even try. That's on me, I am that guy. Talk my shit, I said what I said. So many hot takes, mic glowing red. Everybody.
Yeah. I was grooving, man. Shout out to Jaybird. By the way, can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. By the way, idea for a new segment, and those who are watching can please let us know. I have an idea for Jay. You know, if you guys don't know Jay, big part of Two Nobodies. You know, got us a shit ton of followers. Jay's the freakazoid of the group, and he's all about the Diddy trial. I just want to get a 10. I of course that's why I said what I said, man. That's what I said. But if you guys are interested in a 5 to 10 minute segment of the Diddy segment, man, the freakazoid segment, he would be willing to come on next week and give us 10 minutes, just a breakdown of the nastiness of the Diddy trial. Because I don't watch TMZ. You know, I watch two things. I watch Top Chef, right? And I watch sports. Those food and sports. I don't have time for anything else in my life, man. So before we go on to Major League Baseball, I did have a couple NFL things that I wanted to talk about. Today, owners' meetings, the tush push was effectively brought up for trial, by the way, by the Green Bay Packers. It's like a law. You have to have a senator like represent, you know, had to put it up like for any rule. Also, the Detroit Lions also put up a reseeding in the playoffs that didn't get pushed through.
I like that.
Yes, and they're saying they're going to push forward in 2026. But I thought it was fascinating. It was a big story, came out this morning. The tush push will be allowed, and it's just not in Philly, okay? Just not any team can do this. You know, this is not new. Quarterback sneak is not new. I ran it in Pop Warner football on first and second down. It you know, and people didn't like it, but I got 7 yards with it. Harry Welch, Canyon Country Football. It's a football play, but it was brought up today. They brought your hero in to talk like it was.
Yeah, he did. Jason Kelce.
They brought in Jason Kelce to speak on it and give a video presentation. Okay, so it was very close, CJ. And you being the former center, which we have to, you know, give your props, state champ, natty champ.
Here we go. That's it. This man gets an introduction halfway through the show.
Yes.
The beginning of the show, halfway through the shit.
I wish
Unbelievable,
someone
man.
would introduce me, but I don't have any of those accolades. This was almost passed, Rafa. They got 20 votes, and I think they either needed 20 or they either needed 22 or 24. This was an RCH of getting passed. But
did the Eagles vote for it? That's what I saw.
No.
They voted in.
Of course.
The 49er page posted who voted for
wait,
it.
hold on. I don't think the votes.
The votes are not public.
Yeah,
They're not public. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it was just
No.
okay.
But let me go through the stats of the tush push, specifically with the Eagles. Okay, so as far as attempts wise, last year they attempted it 51 times and were successful 39. That is a 76.5 success rating. That is wild. Okay. Now it gets even better. Okay. Of the 69 touchdown drives that the Eagles had last year, 21 of them had the tush push involved. That's a huge extension. It's all about, you know, making drives long. That is a 30% clip of how much they ran it. Jalen Hurts and I didn't know he had 19 rushing touchdowns. That's effing insane. What is Ezekiel Elliott had like 22 as a running back, or that great year he had? He had that, you know, who has the record for most rushing
Sean
touchdowns?
Alexander.
Oh, okay.
Sean Alexander, I think is 30, I think, or 31. maybe,
That's
somewhere up there.
crazy.
It was
Like,
LT and then Sean Alexander.
So Jalen Hurts had 14 of his 19 rushing touchdowns were from the tush push. That is just wild to me. So they came out and said that there's not enough statistical injury evidence to ban this. I have a very strong opinion on this.
Me too.
I'm sure you guys have seen this stupid ass rugby trend the last 2 weeks of Samoans lining up 20 yards apart from each other.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. It's a sport.
God, it's a sport. Dude, why don't you just go back to Tombstone in Arizona? People in the fucking head.
You know what it is, Eddie? You know what it is? It's
Stupidity.
the Pop Warner Oklahoma drill without pads.
Dude, okay. So this was okay. So I coached for the Santa Clarita Wildcats, and we would all, you would have midgets over here to the juniors. And there was one thing, because most of these Pop Warner coaches, I hate to tell everybody, that's why I'm not a big fan of Pop Warner football. You have dads that either were fourth string in high school football or never played high school football. You very rarely have a college. If you played college and you're a Pop Warner, you're the head coach. I'm sorry. I used to be so pissed off. I would watch coaches at both levels. I wouldn't allow my team to do it. Anyone, I would go over to the coach and say, that's not a football play. Having kids, Oklahoma drill is you line up almost a yard apart, or you do gaps, right?
5 yards, 5 10
Yeah.
yards.
Not 10 yards. No, if you have blockers, right?
Yes.
If you have an O-line, okay. There's a lot of variations of Oklahoma drill. There's lying on your back, head to head, get up, hit each other. There's that. But I would see it all the time. And nothing drove me more crazy than watching grown men sit there and laugh and have kids line up even 10 yards apart from each other, putting cones at a 3 or 4 foot or 5 foot span and having kids hit each other. That's not, you don't get taught how to break down and tackle right. It's not a football play. So I went off on a tangent there. Sorry. But the tush push is having guys who are lined up 4 inches apart from each other. I think it's one of the, there's a reason they don't have evidence why it hasn't injured people. I think it's one of the safest plays in the fucking NFL. Why hasn't these other teams? And so we all thought, right, CJ, and you claimed Jason Kelce to be maybe the best center you've ever seen.
Yep.
We thought this has to be a Jason Kelce thing.
Right. Yeah. No, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, he left and they ran it with more success.
It ain't.
So,
I've seen pictures and graphics that break down like slowly how all of their weight and momentum is pushed towards the middle and how they create a surge and all that good stuff. And it's really an unstoppable play in a lot of situations. But then again, I kind of speak against and contradict myself because I've seen it be stopped so many times. Throughout my life,
Bills didn't run it right.
I've seen it be stopped so many times.
The Bills couldn't run it right.
But the problem with banning it, right, is that they want to ban, the offensive lineman, because it's not only the tush push. The way they want to ban it is no offensive player can push another offensive player. So what happens 3 or 4 yards down the field when a running back is, let's say he stopped at the 4, but he's pushing and the linemen's come in and push him forward into the end zone. And what's going to end up happening, and I said it here last year when people were complaining about it then, was that you cannot stop that, because at the end of the day, you're going to leave the running back. It's going to be defenseless. Right, He's going to be defenseless. He's going to take bigger shots. He's going to have guys ripping at the ball without his offense being able to touch him, because if not, it's a penalty. It just doesn't make any sense the way they want to ban it. It's a football play, and if you can't stop it,
it's a football play. It's always been a football play.
Right.
Why
Some of
Philadelphia?
the best plays come from that.
I mean, dude, how many times do we see Tom Brady run quarterback sneak? He ran that shit all the time. That was the GOAT. He was running that shit at 40 years old. By the way, Will Hanley, the bitch assness segment was legendary. That's how far. Will Hanley's an OG, man.
He
Yeah,
is
he
OG.
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 That's
Bitch
a while
assness
ago.
segment was fire. We have to bring that back for you, Will. It's a fucking football play, man. Stop bitching. Learn how to run it. And to your point, Rafa, if we see it all the time, you'll see a safety, a corner meet up with the running back outside the tackles, and they get stood up. What do you see? A guy hitting his defensive guy, pushing him to knock him back. It goes both ways. So you can't ban that play both ways. Everyone will just run to the football and be standing there watching football.
I was about to say, as a lineman, my whole career, I had a really bad habit of doing that. Seeing the play develop and just standing there and watching it. And I used to get cussed out in the film.
Oh, dude.
Like, bro, why are you standing there watching the fucking play? Go push the damn running back. So it's against a lineman's like natural instinct to just sit there and go, oh, look, my guy's
and it goes the opposite way.
Ways.
You see a linebacker hitting a dude. They're going to chew out the safety. Why aren't you helping the linebacker
cleaning it up?
You know, it's not tackle football any other way. But I'm glad it went through. I hope it goes through. I hope other teams. You know, I don't know how it's going to be stopped. Don't let them get to 4th and 1. How about that? The other thing, NFL. Anything else on the tush push? The other thing on the NFL is a new award, which I love. I used to do this because, especially, and you know this, CJ. You as a big kid, you're probably very athletic, right? But you are big. They're immediately going to put you on the line. I used to make special shirts because all these kids are in between 20 pounds of each other. Why am I a lineman? I used to make special shirts for the offensive lineman. Only if you're an offensive lineman, I would put a barbell bent. I would always do it and it would make them special. Finally, the NFL agrees with me and has made an award that will come out next year, and it's called the Protector of the Year. I love it.
What does that mean?
Best lineman.
Was that not
could it? Yeah, you know what? I don't think there was a best lineman.
There's not a best lineman award?
No.
No. That's
so stupid.
In college, there's the Outland, right? Which is a center, or the Remington is the center.
Yeah,
but I guess there's never been best lineman in it's kind of a stupid name, but the Protector of the Year. I dig it.
Like it.
At this point, it's kind of, you're in the NFL, you're getting paid millions of dollars. You don't have to talk guys into being linemen. But as kids, you definitely had to say, without you guys, we're nothing, which is 100% true at every level in football. So that's what I had. Rafa, the talk on reseeding was after the second round, I think is because division, they do want to keep division winners still even though if you won a division at, 9 and 8, they do want to give those division winners an advantage. But after that, then reseed. Thoughts?
I'm okay with that. I feel that that's fine. But even though after the second round, anyways, I think it
kind of already takes care of itself.
It takes care of itself.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if the 5 wins and they beat whoever, they're not getting a home game unless they're playing the 6 or the 7. So it's basically what they want which is stupid. And I don't know how you would be able to do it. It makes no sense. What they're already doing is fine. The reseeding has to take place at the beginning. Basically the problem is giving the division winners that won fucking 9 games or 10 games, and there's 4 other teams that have 11 wins. No, they're not getting a bye, but they're getting a home game.
Yes.
I think with that, it's fine. I don't understand what they're trying to do there. To me, it doesn't make sense.
It didn't get past the Lions. Why a team has to do that? I don't know. But
Yeah, I don't get that.
it's kind of weird. I just thought, NFL it's no, I think Roger Goodell gets paid like $35 million a year. Seems very gaudy, but they sort of get it better than any other league. They are not stuck in their ways, a la baseball. They're very flexible and they go with what works. If something, remember the pass interference? They had one bad call with the Saints and Rams. They did it. That didn't work. They got rid of it the next year. They are not stuck in the mud.
And I think the tush push should never be banned because the way you want to ban it, the games are going to take so much longer. You're going to have to teach these guys who the line, especially offensive linemen, have always pushed running backs down the field. Wide receivers on wide receiver screens have always pushed them. And now if you touch them, it would be a penalty for what they proposed. I think it's ridiculous. You'd have so many flags. You'd have more injuries to the running backs for sure. And you're giving the defense the advantage in that play because you're holding up the guy, you're swiping at the ball, you're fucking punching at the ball.
Yeah.
And this guy basically will have zero protection and zero arms around him except for defensive arms. So it makes no sense.
Did I give this stat? They were 10 of 10. The Eagles were on fourth down with the tush push. That's such a weapon.
So the thing is, everyone can do it. It's like, I don't know. Everyone can do it.
Yeah.
These guys just do it right, but everyone can do it. It's not like,
Jalen Hurts. Come on. Jalen Hurts does squat 500 pounds. Not every quarterback squats 500 pounds.
No, he squats way more than that. But
does he? That's fucking wild. That's wild. But NFL is fucking king, man, and I'm sure
to me.
Oh,
CJ is a college football.
College football. I love college football. It's just going down a crazy ass path.
I feel like college football is losing. They're losing control of the way the players can move, and we've talked about it weeks before about NIL. They've lost control of the way players can move, which is what I don't like, and what Eddie mentioned a couple weeks back. That's the only problem that I'm having with college football, and we're gonna see, like last year, how we saw just Ohio State fucking roll through the playoff. We're gonna see that more and more and more. We're gonna see it because I understand. And listen, going back to the tush push, where everyone can do it in the NIL, everyone can do it.
Yeah.
But some universities have more money and they have more history. I mean, listen, you're a kid who wants to play college football. You're an elite athlete. You went to Tulsa and you were phenomenal your freshman year, your sophomore year. You're going to move. Where are you going to move to? You're probably going to move to Ohio State or Texas or Alabama or Michigan. You're not going to Missouri for the most part. You're not going to Iowa for the most part, right? You're going to go. So we're going to be top heavy in college football for a handful of years to come. I really believe that. I feel that the way Ohio State's path, they absolutely dominated all the way through. Dominated because they had the best roster. And you can argue that Texas roster was really good. They had the best roster because they had the
highest paid, and
they spent a ton of money. So
has college always not been top heavy though?
I think the run that we saw Ohio State put the fuck to
yes, Oregon. Old school.
They literally put the fuck to Oregon in that game. I mean, they annihilated them. Ohio State played games that they were annihilating these teams in the playoffs. It didn't matter who they were. Dude, you could have the only team that would have beat that team. There are a handful of teams in history that would have beat that team, like in history.
Okay, so let me ask you a question then. Let me ask both of you a question.
Yes.
How many teams on an average year would you personally pick or give a chance preseason to win a national championship? Because I feel like now, for me, it's more than before.
Oh, no, not for me.
No,
not for me. I never feel that I don't feel that it's more now. Like if you look at it just from last year, Eddie Money and I were high on Ohio State before the season even started.
Yeah.
Ohio State, Georgia. That was basically it. Ohio State, Georgia. Oh, you felt that Texas had a chance? They barely beat Arizona State. Oh, did Notre Dame really have a chance? Did Penn State really have a chance? And so when you saw the regular season, you saw Ohio State lose that last game to Michigan, right? It didn't matter. That game didn't affect them. All it affected was their seeding in the playoff. When they got into the playoffs, they showed you clearly why they were the best team with the best players, with the highest fucking NIL deals, excuse me, period.
Yeah.
And you're going to see that for years to come. The top will be super, super elite.
But I just disagree though, because I always feel like for a while it was just Alabama and LSU, or it was just Alabama and Notre Dame, or you had teams that would come in here and there, but for the most part, we would only give 2 or 3 teams preseason a real opportunity in our heads, at least in my head, to win. I always feel like I can get that number up to like 5 or 6.
You're getting the illusion that because there's 12 playoff spots,
Yeah.
you're getting the illusion that one of those 12 teams can win. But when you watched it on the field, the team that was arguably the best team in the country from week 4 until the playoff started was Oregon, and they had 0 fucking chance in that game. In the first quarter, that game was over. You saw it. The national title game. Was there ever a chance? Was it ever in doubt?
No, it was
There was never in doubt. So before, when you had 4 teams, or even when you had the BCS, it was 2 teams. And
do you think reseeding changes that though? If they seeded it correctly,
the teams will be, to me, you can reseed all you want. The eliteness of the roster, when you get down to a must-win game, and now in college football, the 12 games, they're not all must-win. No, there's 10 that you have to win. And when you're playing 3 or 4 against gimmies, especially Ohio State, where you're playing Purdue, you're playing Youngstown State, you're playing, shitters like that. And so you basically have 4 or 5 must-win games to get you 10 or 11 wins. And once the playoffs start, your elite roster and your elite head coach and coaching staff will excel the way they did last year. The ass whooping they put on everyone last year in that playoff is showing you that that's going to roll out. That's how it's going to go. I think it's going to be a feel of like, and I hate to go back to this because it's the NBA. It gives you a feel when Michael Jordan was after Magic and after Bird was done, the Pistons were done. You knew in the East it was Michael Jordan. When it was LeBron James, you knew in the East was LeBron James. You knew that, and there was nobody was going to dethrone them to the final. So when you have Ohio State, an elite roster year after year after year, whether it's Texas or Alabama or Georgia, other than that, no one else will be able to compete with them in those playoffs when they get those elite rosters.
I want to rebut this because Ohio State had the highest, best team of money can buy. I believe the number was a $20 million roster.
Yes.
And CJ can tell you this. Money doesn't always equate to the best football players.
Yes.
There's a reason on Monday Night Football when they do introduction and you'll see the left tackle say William and Mary.
Right.
Guys mature different, especially offensive linemen. Now, the reason why this has, this was always the case with Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, because the boosters would just give money under the table. Now that everything is out right and up front,
the rosters will get better.
But here's the thing, Rafa. Here's the thing, and this is weird. You equated it to basketball and Jordan. I just thought of what I believe is baseball with no salary cap and the Dodgers. At Michigan, you have Portnoy. You have this other billionaire who's gave $12 million to a quarterback. In baseball, you have 5 million Mexicans from East LA and Rancho Cucamonga that allow the Dodgers to supplement this roster. because there is no cap, just like there is no cap in NIL.
Yeah, but
The
that's a different game. It's a different game. You're
Ohio
about,
State
this
has-
is college
has-
football. And for the most part, in college football, when the roster is completely stacked, LSU in 2019, Miami in 2000, 2001, when those rosters are completely stacked, and Miami should have won back-to-back, the bullshit call there at the Rose Bowl against Ohio State was insane.
That's PI.
All right. But anyway, so when you have those rosters, they're so good and so deep, Eddie, that it's college. It's not Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball is a different animal. We've seen $225 million payrolls before they've now gotten to 300. We saw those payrolls not win because it's baseball. In college football, when you have one of the 5 best quarterbacks in college football, when you have one of the 5 best running backs, or 2 of the 5 best running backs in college football, when you have one of the 3 best defensive linemen, when you have one of the 3 best offensive tackles, when you have one of the 3 best at every position, because you can do it, because you can bring in the money, and you have the aura, the history of Ohio State, Alabama, Texas, Georgia, so on and so on, USC, and so on, which they've done a terrible job at. That, to me, you cannot compete. You will not be able to compete.
I guess what I'm saying is, and CJ, I hope you back me up on this. 4 and 5 stars in high school coming, it's a 50% bust rate. It really is.
Yeah, but
man.
Eddie, but these guys aren't. Ohio State's not going out and getting a 5-star freshman to start at corner. Not for the most part. At wide receiver,
100% they are.
Listen, but when you look at what they spend $20 million on guys, a lot of that money on guys they brought in. They brought in. So they're all Ohio State has always been elite at recruiting, right?
Yes.
So for Jim Tressel, Urban Meyer, all of that. They've always been elite at recruiting. Ohio State, Alabama, now Georgia over the last whatever amount of years, right? 15, 20, whatever. USC for the longest time. They have the elite recruiting that they've always had, and now they have the money to bring in elite athletes, that 4 and 5 star guys that maybe didn't play as a freshman in Oregon and went to Tulsa or Southern Miss or whatever, and now have performed and showed this is how good they are. We can pay them. And Ohio State proved to you that they will pay more than anyone. Texas, and there's like 3 or 4 teams that will pay more than everyone and have the history. And the guys are going to be on primetime television every fucking Saturday afternoon and morning and night and all that. The roster's too deep. It's too
Rafa,
deep.
my argument, you're sort of proving my argument here, is that the most money doesn't matter, because who has more money than USC?
They're not spending it. The thing is, they're not spending the money. They're not spending the money.
They're not developing the talent. Utah, every fucking guy at Utah gets a fucking brand new Dodge Ram. BYU,
Wonderful.
You got to develop the talent.
What has Utah won nationally? Nothing. They won
nothing.
Well, Utah's not a national championship program.
Exactly, but Eddie brought up Utah. Utah's won nothing. They could have been in the playoff last year. An example, right? Or Arizona State in the playoff. They played a great game against Texas. They got a bunch of bounces. In the beginning of that Texas game, I believe it was 17-0. You felt that the game was over, right? That team, that Arizona State team, you would have played against Ohio State. Ohio State's up 17-0. They're going to be up 24-0 and 31-0. And they would have rolled them. So you're already taking, it's not about they have already the elite recruiting and the money behind it. So when you have the money behind it, they're building elite rosters, and you're going to see the top 2 or 3.
Texas should never lose a game. They have more money than anybody.
They shouldn't, but their coaching, it was not elite.
That's my point. It takes money and coaching.
Listen, and USC doesn't have it. And USC doesn't have. They have the money. They don't have the recruiting or the coach. Bottom line. But Ohio State does. Ryan Day, people criticize how bad of a coach he was. We did it here. How bad of a coach he was. But he won a national title, and he won it easily because of the elite roster. He had 2 running backs drafted in the second round, right? He had 2 running backs drafted in the second round.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's how deep
and
elite, and that's how deep and elite his roster was. Next year, we will see the same thing from Ohio State and possibly from Georgia.
Can I say this? Can I say this? I think Notre Dame. Watch out for Notre Dame. Freeman. I think kids want to go play for that guy. I sent a article today. Coach Mack, came out and said they should be great. He's a good coach. They're giving Belichick money. They lowered the standards. Mack came out and said we only could go after kids with 3.0s and didn't give a dime. Omarion Hampton stayed. He was offered $1 million. Coach Mack told him to leave. He stayed for 300. I mean, you're looking for special kids. There's a lot of high school football. There's a ton of kids, and just like puberty, high school, these kids. Did you see Marvin Harrison Jr.'s freaking interview today? It looks like he could play middle linebacker. He is huge, Rafa. Even he is taking a jump from Ohio State to the pros. He says a lot of protein. He said a lot of protein. He looks gargantuan, Rafa. It's crazy.
I just think when you see when you watch the playoffs this year and you saw Ohio State play, they were by far and away better than anyone. And you've never seen that. We for the most part, we haven't really seen that in a while. We haven't seen that. We haven't. Think about it. That LSU team, phenomenal roster, right? 2019. The Miami 2001 team, phenomenal roster. And that was, now we're going to see even better rosters. Ohio State proved it. And they beat the fuck out of everybody. So next year, when you see them, whether it's Ohio State or Georgia or Texas, they're going to be, to me, next year, if I'm looking at it, and who's going to win the national title, there's only 2 teams for me. Maybe 3.
Is
and
my
it's Texas, Ohio State, and Georgia.
CJ, is my hate showing? Is that what it is? Fuck Ohio State. Fuck.
I agree with both sides. I get it. Like I agree with you that you need to still develop players. Like development is still a key factor to things. But at the end of the day, how many
kids, CJ, personally that you have played with in the Trinity League that were, I mean, we could name 10 of them just off the. I can name off the rip of my dome. Off the dome. JT Daniels, fucking that we're the 5 of 5-star. The kid that went to SC, then went to Tennessee, is now retired. And they don't pan out.
But that's not what I'm saying.
I know they're getting the guy. I know what you're saying. They're getting the guy.
They're getting the guys. They're not focused.
The left tackle came from who went in the first round.
I just feel like
he came from a small school.
They're not focused on, I have this freshman at cornerback that has to play. Ohio State doesn't have that focus. That freshman needs to play at SC because SC's roster isn't deep like that. It should be because they have all the money. They have the history. They have Southern California. They have it all. And they're not doing that because they're not good at it. It's just what it is. But when you get to Ohio State, they don't give a shit that you're a 5-star corner at modern day. I'd rather have the guy at Missouri who fucking guarded Trey Harris, who guarded this guy, and now he's going to transfer to my school. It's just an example. I'm just using
corner's a bad,
Well, I'm just using an example.
Yeah, because usually 5-star cornerbacks here 6'2".
Well, just an example in any position, right?
Yeah.
So you're not bringing in a kid, or imagine the best offensive tackle in Southern California, who's number 3 in the country, and he goes into Ohio State. He's probably not playing over maybe the guy that they're bringing in from fucking Oklahoma State or from Mississippi State or from wherever they're bringing him in. They don't have that prep because they can get elite talent. So their roster of whatever it is in college, 85 players or whatever, there's 50 guys on that roster that can start on any other school. And they proved it to you. Literally.
CJ, are you ready? CJ, are you ready for fucking next year for the Ohio State penises and Eddie Money's and fucking Rafa's mouth?
I'm using
surgically remove them.
I'm using Ohio State as an example because they rolled through the playoffs. They literally steamrolled in these
No,
playoffs.
they did. They
Well,
did.
Eddie, I don't think you understand how much me and Eddie Money on a daily basis talk about how we can't wait to hear Rafa just scream and yell in the fall. The fall time, I feel like Rafa's blood pressure on an annual basis
Oh.
just skyrockets. It just goes
Yeah.
up, and then
My
as soon as it
time to
hits like
shine, baby.
February, it just goes down.
Bro, that's
100%.
that's my favorite time. But
100%.
that's my problem with college is that I feel that it's going in that way, and I feel like there's going to be 2 or 3 teams at the most. And like CJ said earlier, we can go back to always that where you always thought, oh, these 2 or 3 teams are the best teams. But you know, it's still the way they rolled. It was sick, and I'm not saying just so maybe it's Texas next year. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be a 2 or 3 teams for years to come. I really believe that.
So, you know, I was thinking if I should say this or not, but I don't think it's going to happen. The NIL, the transfer portal, the huge paychecks, the guys who don't start, it's sort of churning off because, listen, football is, you know, the center of it's everywhere. It's East Coast, West Coast,
Right.
but it's sort of churning off like the kneeling down for the national anthem. It's getting that vibe a little, but it will never go there because people are so loyal to their area and their teams. It's a ridiculous. You see it. You know, I told CJ, I told Rafa, I'm on this country kick. I'm listening to country music, and I'm on my way home at 3 a.m. From San Diego from work, and I'm listening to this country song. Then this woman is singing, and she's apologizing to her parents in this song. I'm like, she's like, I'm sorry. She's talking about this boyfriend. He's making me do things I've never done before. Dad, you raised me better than this. I'm like, what the fuck is going on with this country song? Like, I'm listening to this. I'm just, dude, I am enthralled with this country song. It's called Tennessee something. She's from Georgia, and because she's seeing this boy, she's wearing. It's called Tennessee Orange. Rafa, you have to
Right. Yeah. No, I've heard.
You have to listen to this song.
I've heard it.
She's apologizing to her parents. She's like, I still root for the dogs, but I'm sorry, mom and dad. But this boy I like, he doesn't make me cry. He has blue eyes, and I'm wearing Tennessee Orange. I mean, if that is not the essence of college football, I can't believe I remember that. It's wild. That was better than any Tupac song.
Whoa.
I just said,
Wow.
that shit.
Wow.
I didn't know where she was going with this, Rafa. I was like, she's
Eddie had to replay that song 3 times.
I did.
Just hold on. Is she talking about the dogs? Is she talking about the dogs? Is she dating a volunteer talking about the dogs?
Yes. That's exactly what that was going
Listen,
on.
I love college football. I love it. I think it's phenomenal. I'm with CJ. I like college a little bit more than I like the NFL. And because you feel, but I just feel that going forward, I think it's going to be just a bunch of ass whoopings in the playoffs.
You think I'm way off on the whole? It's turning off people with the NIL kneeling. You think I'm just way off on that? Like it's turning off middle America?
No, I don't think so because college football is, you know, most of college football, at least in middle America, Oklahoma, right? I mean, you go to school in Texas and you want to go to UT. You want to go to Texas. I mean, if you live in a certain part of Dallas, you want to go to A&M, right? I mean, it's just, you know, if you live near San Antonio or Austin or maybe Southern Dallas, you want to go to UT. Northern Dallas, you want to go to A&M or even Oklahoma, right? Because maybe your mom went there, your dad.
Don't forget about SMU, man.
Well, that's a real good. And
they have money. Right? They have money.
Got a ton of money in a beautiful neighborhood. It's the UCLA of UC. It's centered, anyways. I'm not gonna say it's UCLA. It's centered the way UCLA is here in LA. So I just, you know, there's still so much loyalty when it comes to a college football team. And here in LA, let's be real. When we look at USC, I want to say that probably 85% of the people who cheer for USC didn't go.
Here we go.
They didn't go there. I'm just saying. Eddie,
Here
I'm
we
saying
go.
because LA.
You think Alabama? You don't think the same numbers applied for fucking Alabama Crimson fucking Tide?
Hello.
No.
It's
It's probably
even more so.
90%.
What?
No.
Oh,
Are you kidding?
my God.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
You mean
Oh.
every hick in Alabama? Roll Tide.
That's because they probably went there. That's
Oh,
what I'm saying.
my God.
Alabama has one of the lowest education rates in the country. What makes you think that all those people are going to Alabama?
It's the same premise, Rafa.
It's
the same.
worse.
It's the same
I don't think
premise.
so.
Why Mexicans in East LA and Rancho Cucamonga associate? It's the same reason why people were they want to be associated with winners, and it's just not Mexican. It's older white men that own companies.
That
They
went
want-
there though.
they-
That went
no.
there. That's what I'm saying.
They
They
want to be
went there.
associated with winning. They
Right,
want to stay.
but Eddie, they went there. That's the thing. I'm talking about the USC has a. I guarantee you.
You can't say
USC
USC without saying Alabama. They're
Right?
the same
Like it
fucking
doesn't
thing.
work.
Of course it does.
No,
Of course, what school is easier to get into, Alabama or USC, man?
Alabama.
Alabama.
100%. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it is so much easier to get into Alabama. So their following is more real because they actually went there. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
No, I can't
Listen,
accept that.
okay,
I cannot accept
hold the
that
fuck
fact.
on. Okay, I know every USC fan that I know has never gone to school there. Fuck,
Every
they
Alabama
barely.
fan that I know never went there either.
You live in California, so you live in LA.
I
You
have
don't
family
live in Alabama. Stop it. Okay, listen, CJ, stop. It's easier
And
to
they're all
get into school there.
Titans.
It's easier to get into school there. It's just
I get
easier.
what you're saying, Rafa. But
Well, you're
to-
talking about
to
one of the hardest
stay
schools to get to in the country. USC.
in the country. But when
Exactly.
you're-
That's what I'm saying.
but when you're
85% of their
talking
fans
about
didn't go to school
the
there.
fandomhood of Alabama. I mean, Roll Tide Willie. He didn't go to no damn Alabama. There's so
And
many of him.
Yes, I'm sure he didn't, but let me ask you something. You wanted to go to USC, right?
Correct.
And you're a USC fan, right?
I did.
Not
it was my
anymore.
life. It was my
Okay,
lifelong
how
dream.
many? Okay, Eddie did, right?
Lifelong
And
dream.
how
Yeah, mine too.
many people in your household went to USC?
In my household,
None.
zero.
How about in your immediate family? How many went to USC? None.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
How
My
many?
first cousin, I have two.
Okay, so
Your immediate family.
so that's not
I mean,
your immediate family.
it's my
But
my first cousin, my dad's.
there's
sisters.
lineage in Alabama or Georgia or Tennessee or Texas A&M where their parents have gone there.
Texas A&M,
The
yes.
people here that are cheering for USC have zero ties to the actual school as ever going there. That's what I'm saying.
Where's
That's
where's
why
Uncle
there's
Zero?
fewer-
Where's Uncle Zero?
That's where there's fewer UCLA fans
How
than
you
there are
get-
USC.
How you get fans and how you attract fanatics is by winning,
Yes.
Listen.
not
Dude.
not by alumni.
No,
The more
Eddie,
you win, the more fans you will have. I've never played for the Dodgers. Neither has anyone.
that's
and-
different. That's a professional team. College, which
That's
is
how
why
people view it, though. That's how
No,
people
that-
view
you
college.
shouldn't view it like that because you
But
brought
they
up
do.
you brought up people with the NIL kind of fading away from watching it basically or from being aligned with their schools. They will not be because they have lineage to that school because most of those schools are in tinier towns than fucking USC
Did you?
in the middle of fucking downtown LA.
Well, yeah, we're an anomaly.
that's
with
what
our
I'm
size.
saying. That's
So-
what I'm saying.
Did you hear what Joe Burrow said about what he talks about when people ask him about college? He says, I went to school at Ohio State. I played football at LSU. He graduated from Ohio State.
Right.
Like
Same thing with
he
Jalen Hurts.
did,
He didn't,
like,
yeah, he didn't graduate from Oklahoma.
like he had a cup of tea and he doesn't, when they ask him, you go in his room, in his office, his degrees from Ohio State, but people don't see him and know him as an Ohio State football player.
I'm not talking about the players, man.
It's
I'm
the
talking
fandom
about-
hood. Yes, the
I'm the
fans. Yeah.
fandomhood.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I guarantee you go into the airport at Alabama and you walk in there and you pull 10 fucking random people. I promise you, 7 of them, either went to Alabama or their dad or their grandfather. You walk into fucking LAX and pull 10 people and ask them if they went to USC, it's a fucking no.
It's a
It's
bigger
a no.
pool
LA
size.
is more populated. Yeah,
Yeah.
LA is like way more populated than Alabama is.
It's a bigger no. That's what I'm just saying. 85% of the fans from USC that are fans of USC have zero ties to the actual.
Rafa,
Okay,
listen, I know you're not a fanatic, Rafa. I know you're not a fanatic, but you are a human being, and you are a huge sports fan. Who was your college team growing up, and why?
And I'll tell you why. When I went to Miami the first time, I think it was 91. Okay, this is the first time I ever went to Miami. I was about 9 years old. My dad's aunt's cousin, my dad's aunt, her son, okay, her grandson was recruited by Miami. That was the first time I saw it. That was the first time I saw it. I was 9 years old.
12 degrees of Miami.
I'm just letting you know. But I'm not a diehard the way these SC bro. There's cholos that have Trojans tattooed on their legs. On their legs. They can't tell you where the fuck
University of Southern California.
Eddie, it's
University of Southern California, man.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. We can do a poll.
Why isn't there UCLA
Well,
fans?
okay,
like
so
that?
then
You know why there's not UCLA?
Because
You know why there's not UCLA fans? You know why?
success.
No, it's not because of success.
I don't think it's because of success.
It's because they're in a rich white neighborhood.
I was gonna say that they're like the
100%. 100%. They're
for
in a
me, you
rich-
have to then balance the conversation though, because for one, there's no other university in the entire state of Alabama that's relevant in anything.
Auburn.
What the fuck
Auburn.
you talking
Oh,
about?
my bad.
Auburn.
Yeah,
National
my
title.
bad. I forgot. My bad.
Oh,
My
okay.
geography was messed up. Okay, so
Don't
there's
talk
two.
shit on UAB either.
There's two. Okay, but listen, there's two. UAB. There's two in the entire state of Alabama.
Right.
We have like 10. Like
10 at
Fresno
what?
State, Stanford,
That
UC
what? That do what?
Berkeley,
That are good?
that have prominent
Because you
sports
hold on.
teams.
What prominent sports teams out of Fresno State? The fuck are you
Come
talking
on.
about? Rafe? Oh, come on, man.
The people in Fresno love their football, man. Don't talk
Yes,
shit.
people in Fresno, a small fucking town. Go into Fresno.
It's
and
the
see how many
valley.
people-
It's the
Go
Valley.
They
Go
have a
into
V.
Fresno.
They have a V
Hold
on the
on,
back of
hold
their
on,
helmets.
Hold on. Go into Fresno and see how many people that cheer for that team actually went to that school. The number will
A lot
be
of
bigger.
them.
A lot of them. That's what I'm saying with USC.
It's
USC's
not populated.
exactly, which is why their percentage of fans, just like Alabama, like Ohio State, although Ohio State's a national brand, those small cities and those small towns, Alabama, Kansas, Kentucky, all of
Keep
them,
going.
those there's a
With
ton.
acceptance rates of 60%.
Yes,
Yeah.
which is why their
Ohio-
fans
By the
are
way,
loyal.
Ohio State and Notre Dame might be the biggest offenders of what you're saying.
Right.
Of what?
Of Notre Dame, that is
Oh no,
one of the
Notre Dame, because Notre Dame is for Mexicans. It's for Mexicans to cheer for because they hated USC. The Notre Dame
is for the
fans,
rich Catholics, white Catholics.
dude, that's the people that go there. The people here in Southern California that cheer for Notre Dame have zero alliance to the fucking school.
Yes,
Zero.
that's what I'm
That's-
saying.
That's
dude.
my point with USC.
Ohio
It's the
State
same
as well.
thing, because
The
they're a
same thing with Ohio
national.
State.
They're a national brand at this point,
So is
They're in-
USC.
dude. We're in LA. I'm talking about LA only. I'm telling you, 85. That's my opinion. 85% of the fans have zero alliance to the actual school.
But you're leaving
Dude.
out the important context, which is anybody can apply to Alabama and get in. No, most people
Exactly.
in this-
Which, dude,
yeah, that's the
are-
point. What do you want us
the
to do?
point-
You want us
the-
to cheer for nobody?
no, dude. The point with that what Eddie was saying was that fans, because of NIL, are starting to kind of go away from their teams, their college universities that they enjoy and
Football
cheer
in
for.
general. Football in general.
They will not in those towns because they have an alliance to the school. Whatever it is, there is lineage there. At USC, why the fuck does USC have 15 Heisman jerseys or whatever the fuck it is blocking the seats? It's not because they're selling them. It's not because they're showing the jerseys of the Heisman. It's because they can't sell the seats. That's why.
Because they've been bad.
Because they don't have the alliance, the allegiance, the lineage of fans that and alumni and my daughter and my son and my grandfather. That's the difference with the small schools, which is why those small schools or those small towns with those big schools, they'll never lose interest in their football team because they actually went there. They have a bloodline there. USC has lost fans. You hardly even watch them if there's no money on them, probably, because they're bad and you have zero lineage at the school.
It's painful to watch them.
Exactly. But that's if you went there, or your daughter, or your cousin, or your sister, or whatever, you'd have lineage. You'd have some sort of allegiance to it, like Alabama, like Georgia, like Tennessee, like Texas A&M, like Mississippi State, Ole Miss. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm not talking about how good they are or they're not. I'm talking about the fans.
I get your point.
Loyalty, different loyalty.
There's context.
I get your point. I just want you to admit this because you hate USC so much and you hate the Mexicans that have SC tattoos on their calf, and I've seen them. So I know. Listen,
You know what I'm talking about.
I'm not saying you're lying. That's for damn sure.
I've seen them myself.
I just want you to acknowledge the same shit happens with the Alabama, Ohio State.
It happens in a smaller number, is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
It's all relative.
It happens to every
It's all
school.
relative.
Yeah.
It happens to every school. But, that's why UCLA has lesser fans. It's not because they were bad. It's because they're in a rich white neighborhood. And it's harder school to get in. UCLA is a hard school to get into. Even though CJ got in there, we're not going to talk
Shut
about
the fuck up. I knew he was going to say something.
He used his Choctaw.
Oh, 100%. Are you kidding? When he fucking went to
$1,000%.
Dude, he literally checked off.
He went in there
black,
in some
Native
moccasins
American
and a headdress.
Dude,
he fucking went in there and fucking took the test. With a full headdress and walked into that bitch. I'm here to apply.
Dude, when he filled everything out, Native American, check. Black,
yes,
100%.
Yes.
Like he checked.
Where do you live? I live in a teepee.
Yeah.
I have a yes. My horse is named Pinto.
He even wrote on the bottom, I live with Mexicans, just to get that. This motherfucker went 3 full-blown minorities.
Hey, much respect, CJ.
For sure,
you gotta
CJ.
do what you gotta do, man.
Big fucking
Much
accomplishment.
respect.
Yeah, I had to get in there some way, somehow, and I was
Hell yeah.
Hey,
use what you got.
You do you, baby. You do you, man.
Yeah, use what you got, man.
Yeah, so there's no more fake homerism for me. I'm a real fucking fan through and through. Officially,
You know what? People will talk shit about me being a UNC fan. I didn't go to
Your
UNC.
son
lineage.
goes there.
You have lineage. That's what I'm talking about right there. Eddie, you for the rest of your life can cheer
Can be
for
a
North
UNC
Carolina
fan.
because
100%.
your son went there. He goes there. He lived it, and you can cheer for them forever. And never take nobody can ever take that away from you because it's in your bloodline. It is there for you.
Anybody in your lineage that goes there is a legacy.
Of course.
But if I say, if I go to Chapel Hill, which I do often, and I'll talk to a couple that have generations, and I say they're gonna look at me side eye, man.
Now they can look at you however the fuck they want.
However the fuck they want
to. You can say we because I have a fucking athlete or a student or whatever that went there. That is the thing. And that's what I'm saying.
You can put UNC dad on your car.
100%.
That's how Rafa. That's how my dad looked at O.J. Simpson. He looked at him like his son, and that's why I became. That's how I became a USC fan.
Here we go so quickly.
Dude, we've had multiple OJ references on the show today, which I love because if the glove don't fit, you must have quit, baby. Damn right. But Eddie's dad is closer to I know black than actual black.
Oh, yeah.
100%. But so
I know black papi.
You actually brought up a perfect point that Sonny goes to North Carolina. That is your son. You can cheer for North Carolina forever. And if he would have gone to USC, there's no problem with you cheer. There's no problem for you cheering for USC anyways, but it's a little bit different. If if you had a Trojan tattooed on your fucking calf and your son went there, it's all good. But you didn't graduate high school and you have a tattoo of USC on your calf. It's
Yeah.
like, dog, what happened? And
Hey.
that's a lot of USC.
What's
and
worse?
that's what I see. I see that.
CJ, you saw JT Daniels' USC tattoo. There's a Coliseum, a horse, an SC. He had to get that lasered, right? He had to have got that lasered.
He had to have gotten that shit lasered for sure.
Dude, Rafa, if you want to see a USC tattoo, JT Daniels got the king of USC tattoos on his
Oh,
calf.
I've seen it. But he went there. He went there.
And 5 other places.
But he went there and he was from here and that was his school of choice or whatever. And they recruited him and that's what it was. And so he went there. And so his family could cheer for them forever. Bottom line.
Woo!
There it is. By the way, you brought up tattoos. Did you see the guy who had a Cowboys tattoo on his back?
Yes.
Got it redone. How the fuck do you go from a Cowboys fan to a Chiefs fan? And just so this guy must have grown up. He must have been like 12 in 92.
Yep.
And so that's when he became a Cowboys fan. And now he's realized, all right, now I got to move to the Chiefs. So what happens in 5 years? Does he get a Green Bay Packer fucking G on the back or what?
I worked with the dude who had a Raiders tattoo and swore he's a Redskin fan. Swore he's a Redskin.
There you go.
I've seen it. He lived in Little Rock. I don't know if that means anything. Yeah.
Imagine one of these cholos with this tattooed Trojan on their calf, right? Or on their arm or whatever, and their daughter has been given a scholarship to go to UCLA. And you're walking around campus or you're sitting there watching your daughter play or your son play football or whatever, and you have a Trojan tattooed on your leg, and you're cheering for your child who's now at UCLA. How does that make any fucking sense?
Can I give a possible explanation?
Please.
You live on Figueroa and you were charging $50 a parking space in your front yard. SC football literally put food in your mouth.
Maybe, but that's far-fetched.
I know
it's far-fetched.
It's about 50 people that can have that. It's about 50 cats that can have that tattoo.
Yeah,
about 50 of them. So,
but
other than that,
500.
That's the problem. That's what I'm saying. And you see more of that when you go to Vegas, when you go to watch college football in Vegas, and you see more of that. And when you go there, and especially you watch March Madness, you see the people. You see Santa Barbara. Oh, and we had the father and daughter a couple years back. You remember, Eddie? We're sitting there talking to him. The guy's cheering on UC Santa Barbara. Oh, you go there? No, my daughter goes there. Mm-hmm. That's how it is. When you go to USC, when you go to Vegas and you watch an SC play, oh, did you go there? Nah, fool, I live right there on Vermont, right around there. That's where I be living. Like, that's what you see. That's what you see. I'm sorry. I don't get that.
Have I told you?
Get that from other people.
Listen, I know we're going long. Have I told you my first USC game that I remember, my story?
No, let's hear it.
Is it
OJ?
It's not OJ. It's not OJ. Right. But Drew Bledsoe, Washington State. Okay. My dad got tickets. I think it was homecoming. And we have really good seats. And I might be 9, 10, 11 years old in that range. We have really good seats. And, as far as I think, I was born, bred USC. In my eyes, I have a PhD. I have a doctorate. Like I am SC. We sit down and these two drunk frat boys, or graduated for sure, I'll never forget their faces, graduated with their girlfriends, are hammered. They're taking swigs off a flask. And they see me and my dad, and they start talking shit. Like I didn't get it. My dad probably got it a lot because I was, naive and a child. But they started talking about like gardeners and like who let the gardeners here, and the girlfriends were tapping them. Like they were 1000% shaming us for being Hispanic at the SC game. And it took me a while to get it. And finally, my dad said, "Is there a problem?" The girlfriends apologized, and they were so drunk. I honestly should like hate SC because SC has that elitist reputation. At least back then they did. Like they totally like almost spat on us. Like that it was fucking wild. And that's a fucking true story, man. I'll never forget that. That was fucking weird.
That's what happens, man. That's
Yeah.
what happens.
I wish
The
my
other
dad. I wish my
14%.
dad had I wish my dad had a diploma so he could say, "Fuck you, bitches." OJ Simpson's my son.
Another OJ reference here tonight.
Why we keep mentioning this
no.
dude, bro?
Another
sorry.
OJ show.
OJ. Another.
I'm
This is an
sorry.
OJ. We should turn this into an OJ.
You know that my
podcast.
dad wanted to name me Orenthal James. You guys know
Yeah,
that
no.
story.
We,
Yeah.
I know the
Are you
story.
serious?
Yeah. What's your middle name, Eddie?
James after OJ.
OJ.
My mom said no. You will name him Edward, and
Wow.
he was pushing for a rental. She's like, you could have the middle name. I'm named after OJ Simpson, except I didn't get a rental. Imagine that. My wife's
Edward
probably-
James.
Edward
There we
James.
go.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there you go. Right there. That's the dumb shit that SC fans do. Right there.
Yeah.
With zero lineage to
Yeah.
the school is what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
And guess who my dad? I have his toolbox still. Guess who my dad loves? The Buffalo Bills. Why? OJ Simpson. That's how bad. Hey, OJ was a bad man.
Dude, the juice is loose up in here today, man.
And
The juice
he was
is
a
super
he was a
loose.
bad man in very many.
It's
different
like,
ways.
what else is loose in this podcast?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, the juice is loose. So, anyways,
Let's
I
get
love
on
college
MLB.
football, man, because we can talk college football forever, dude.
Yes.
Listen,
Facts.
if Sonny named his child middle name Jordan, it's perfectly
gosh.
okay
For
because
sure.
he went to North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
He's
You know what
naming him
I'm
after Bill Belichick's girlfriend.
There you
So
go.
what the? So
There
my
you go.
child's name is gonna be what, Bruin or something?
Troy. So
Troy.
just so you know,
Or Skip.
okay, this is embarrassing to say. Jacob's name I was gonna name him Tiger after Tiger Woods. I got banned from Tiger. That's why his middle name is Jacob Tiger. The other options were Troy after Troy and Marcus after. So I
This is the shit. This is
you're
the type of
basically
shit.
talking shit about me. You're
That's the
basically talking shit
85%.
about
That
me.
is the 85% that I'm talking about. That's the 85% that I'm
No,
talking about,
I
Ed.
just looked. I have a UFC tattoo on my calf right now that I didn't know about.
Yeah, check.
Holy
Please
shit.
check. That is
I'm
the
that
80,
dude.
that is the 85% that I'm
It's the-
talking about.
Okay, it was the first thing I thought of. I'm like, who do I name my son after? Troy, SC, Marcus Allen. I'm sorry, but he's still pissed at me that I didn't fight for Tiger. I think it was my grandma. My grandma said, "You're not naming my grandson Tiger."
Tiger would have been a good name.
Yeah,
That
he
is
has it. I
hilarious.
mean, it's in there. So
For sure. Let's get into some MLB. The Los Angeles Dodgers.
the Dodgers, they squeaked one out. Yoshinobu Yamamoto is a Cy Young candidate. He almost threw a no-hitter. Broke the 5 or 4 game losing streak. You know, I almost wanted to fire, and I've done this like 2 or 3 times already, episode 135, and I've done it. I wanted to fire the Dodger fans that immediately went and put $1,000 on the Dodgers to win a World Series, because you and I both know, Rafa, you cannot buy a World Series.
No. It's the one. It's probably one of the championships that you cannot buy.
You just can't do it. And you're seeing this pitching staff just completely fall apart. We are the highest, and I say we because I grew up like 3 miles away from Dodger Stadium, and I have Dodger tattoos.
That's different.
I say
That's different.
okay. So they have the worst ERA bullpen wise. They've given up, I believe the bullpen has given up the most home runs. The starting pitcher has given up the most home runs. It's really bad. It's really bad. And you know, this is far from a shoo-in. Like, if you were to give me Dodgers or the field right now to win World Series, I'm 100% taking the field.
Well, they've been struggling, and we talked about last week a little bit about them making a move because the bottom of the lineup is so bad. I know the pitching has been hurt. The pitching has struggled, obviously, but I think the pitching will be fine. I don't think they get all of the guys back, but I think they get 2 or 3 of the guys back, and I think they'll be fine. To me, I cannot keep throwing Kershaw out there every 5th day.
It's one start, Rafa.
It was one start and it was awful. After seeing that, I don't know if I can throw him again. I don't know if I can throw him again.
You don't have a choice right now.
Well, yeah, but going forward, when you get those arms back, if he continues to struggle and he's only giving you 5 and he's allowing 4 or 5, or he's giving you 5 and he's allowing 10 or 9 or 10 hits, you cannot continue. You can't. He wouldn't even be. And this is kind of fucked up to say. If you got to the playoffs, you can maybe think about leaving him off that roster.
I don't think that's fucked up to say. I think a realist Dodger fan would agree. Can I say this about Kershaw? When you think of Clayton Kershaw, I put him in the category of Roger Clemens. I put him in the category of Greg Maddux. I put him in the category of Randy Johnson. But you know what he's not in comparison to those 3 guys that I just mentioned, which kind of blew me away, and I've been thinking about this for a while. Clayton Kershaw has 212 wins. He is never going to sniff 300 wins.
Yeah, but
that's not how I view him.
Well,
you know,
it's a different time. For pitchers now to win 300, I don't know if we're going to see one to win 300. And I think Greinke has more wins than Kershaw.
He does. He does.
I don't think we're going to see a pitcher. But to me, if you ask me if Clayton Kershaw is the first ballot, I 1,000% say yes. If you ask me if he's one of the best pitchers of his era, there is no doubt in my mind that he is. Is he the best left-handed pitcher of his era? Probably yes. Randy was before that. Was before that.
Tom Glavine.
That was all before before him, right? I don't put him like you had him in the category with Maddux and Randy
Clemens.
I don't put him there. I put him below that. I put him below that group. For me, that group is Randy, Greg Maddux, Pedro, Clemens. I think that group is separate, and we're not talking old timers. We're not.
Pedro doesn't even have 300. I looked.
No. Pedro doesn't have 300, but Pedro was a phenomenal pitcher, right? He was probably the one with the exception of Greg Maddux in that era. Pedro was the second best right-handed pitcher. Pedro, Maddux, and Clemens were the best pitchers in that era, right? Yeah. Right-handed, and Randy was the best lefty. But I still think Kershaw's a first ballot. There is no doubt about it. People will always question his playoffs. He wasn't a better playoff pitcher than Madison Bumgarner. It's no doubt. It's not even a conversation, right? It's true. It's fucked up to say, but Madison was an elite playoff pitcher. He's not a Hall of Famer, but he was an elite playoff pitcher. So, but I still think Kershaw to be his first ballot. I think he's the best lefty of his era. There's no doubt about it. And
I don't know who I was talking to about the whole thing. I looked it up. There's only 24 pitchers in the history that have 300 wins. And there's only like 7 or 8 in the modern era.
Yeah, there's not many. But
and by the way, Cy Young has 511, and the next person, like the Cy Young's named after the right vato.
Well, it's named after the right guy because there were no black dudes. We can go through that forever.
We're not doing that again.
No, we're not going to do that. But that was a fact, right? So, but they also were not throwing as hard as these guys, and it was a whole different deal. That's why I don't think we're not gonna see a 300 win pitcher in baseball. I don't think that's one thing that I don't think we'll ever see again. Like we'll see 500 home runs, we'll see 3,000 hits.
I think Scherzer is he has a lot more wins than Kershaw.
I think he's the closest, and I don't even.
I think he's the closest,
and I don't think he's gonna get it. So we're not gonna get another 300 win pitcher? Probably not in our lifetime, to be honest.
Ever.
Yeah, probably not in our lifetime.
Yeah.
So
300, like 225 is the new 300.
yeah. So, but Kershaw to me is still a Hall of Famer, and still, it's brutal to see him. You know, he went out last year. He wasn't good, and then he goes out there his first game and he just gets crushed.
Yeah.
And so the Dodgers need to find, if the playoffs started and they have 4 guys of the ones that are injured healthy, this man's not making the playoff roster. Like he's just not.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why the Dodgers, and I thought this maybe 2 years ago, maybe 3, why they didn't move him to the bullpen like John Smoltz did. And John Smoltz did a lot earlier in his career, but John Smoltz was an elite reliever and a great starter. And so
I might have an answer for that, because when Smoltz did it, he had 3 of the best pitchers he had, you know, maybe on staff. And I think it's a legacy thing. You know, like I started as a starter. I'm not ever going to the bullpen. But I agree. I mean, I think a ton of guys should do that to extend their careers.
100%. I mean, listen, Dennis Eckersley was a starter. John Wetland was a starter.
Yeah.
Like,
and by the way, just because you were a great starter doesn't mean you should remain a starter, a la Kenley Jansen, who screwed me with the Angels. Just because you did it doesn't mean you should continue to do it.
Yes. But if I were Kershaw, I would have moved him to the bullpen maybe 2 years ago and seeing, listen, if this guy can give me one really good inning, that's all I need. And imagine if this guy can give me one really good inning 4 nights a week, that's a back of the bullpen with a guy who's been in the league for 15 plus years. That was my thought a couple of years ago. Now I just think it's too late.
Who was the guy with the Mets? We've seen like Orozco. We've seen left-handed bullpen guy who just come in to face one guy, and they
did it till he was like 47,
45, right? We've seen it
crazy like that.
Yeah.
So
rules have changed. You can't see more than. You know.
And but since we're on baseball and Juan Soto, he's fucking. Everybody hates Juan Soto. I think he's the LeBron James of baseball.
Yes.
Like everyone hates this guy. There is no, I kind of like him. There either you like him or you fucking just hate him.
You only like him if he's on your team.
Right. And other than that, you don't really like him. And people hate him. And you know, the other day he hits a shot and he doesn't really run. And listen, he thought it was a home run probably, and which it wasn't, and he didn't fucking hustle. And then he tried to claim that he was hustling. He was not hustling. And you know, but I mean, it's so much money you give this guy, and he's already won a World Series. I feel like, I don't know, like he's kind of a dick.
Listen,
I feel like he's not playing to his ability because he's not trying to play to his ability, is what I feel.
But Rafa, so everything you said is 100% true. But what's the saying in Batman? With great power comes great responsibility.
That's Spider-Man.
Oh, that's Spider-Man? Okay.
Oh,
How disrespectful.
Relax.
Yeah.
No, you cannot disrespect.
Spider-Man.
You cannot disrespect Spider-Man
Did-
like that.
but did I get the quote right?
Yes.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Okay. So people didn't love the contract.
No, 100%.
And that's the thing. But you can't fault his agent or him for getting as much money. If your boss came to you at Home Depot and says, I want to make you the highest paid Home Depot employee of all time, you're going to say, you know what, man, I've been late to work a couple times. I had a couple late lunches. I don't hustle after lunch. Of course you take as much money as possible.
There is no doubt about that. That's not what I'm questioning. I'm questioning his work ethic right now. I feel like when I watch him play, I'm not getting the Juan Soto that I had last year. I'm not getting that. He's not great defensively. But that is a given.
Never will.
That is a given. We know that. There's plenty of guys who aren't great defensively, but are great at the plate. There's all of that. But he's not giving full effort. Guys struggle. Baseball, we understand how brutal it is to hit a baseball.
Yeah.
Guys go through slumps. We've seen Mike Trout 0 for 22, 0 for 23. In his prime. we've seen that. We've seen Otani struggle. We've seen all elite players in baseball,
it's baseball.
struggle. The problem is, I feel like his effort is not there. I feel like he's going at 65%. And I don't know what to make of it.
I'll give a better word, because it is effort. It's enthusiasm. It's not, he doesn't look like he's enjoying playing baseball.
And they're playing well. It's
And
not
they're
like
playing
they're not,
well.
it's not like they're not playing well. They're playing well.
Is the pressure too much?
It's not that it's not pressure from the media because they're not the Yankees. It's not the pressure from the fans because the team is playing well. I think the pressure's on him, and he's kind of listening to the outside noise of maybe you didn't deserve this contract. Maybe you should have stayed a Yankee. I think it's more pressure from the fans that aren't Mets fans. It is what could maybe be getting to him.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, when you go to that team got to the NLCS last year. That team could have beat the Dodgers last year. That team, the leader of that team is Francisco Lindor.
Badass.
And who's the best player on the team, and the leader might be Pete Alonso. So they have guys in place there. Like, you went there as an addition to help that team get over that hump, and your effort is not there.
Yeah.
And you're probably right. But the pressure is not coming from I don't think it's coming from the organization. It's still the lack of effort. The pressure shouldn't matter if your effort is 100%. Nobody's going to question you. And you can hit 250 or 240 if you're giving 100% effort. But if you're not running out ground balls, if you're not running out balls off the wall that should be doubles, and you're not turning them into doubles, and you're barely rounding the bag at first when the ball's coming in, you're not giving effort.
Yeah.
And people hate that, and the fans kind of already hated you with the deal that you took because they thought you didn't deserve it. And to me, whatever somebody's willing to pay you, you deserve. That's my opinion.
100%. I mean, it's very Manny Machado-like, I could say. You know,
effort-wise, you mean?
Yeah. Like
the effort, Manny's effort on defense, is insane, right?
He's amazing.
I think on offense, when he's kind of hustling down the line, I think Manny doesn't give full effort on a ground ball to short. I don't think Manny's giving full effort on a ground ball to third. That's the difference with Manny. But I'm getting 100% effort from Manny at third base. That's the difference with them. And I maybe with Manny, I think it's a little bit more of an arrogance that he has, right?
Yes.
He's a very arrogant player, which I love. It's with all the Latin players that they have.
He's
this
come
sort
out
of
as
arrogance.
that's not me. He's admitted to that.
Yeah, so
I'm looking for that. That's not me. On the other hand, you have Shohei, who 100%. I mean, the more I watch this guy, Rafa, the more I'm just amazed by the Japanese culture. The way he apologizes of a fall ball goes off a catcher. If it goes towards the dugout, his effort on ground balls. I mean, listen, he was in Anaheim for 7 years, and I knew he was good. I'm appreciating more than his talent. I'm appreciating his culture. I'm
100%.
appreciating a man who is imagine being as good as something as Shohei Ohtani is, and being as humble as Shohei Ohtani is. He blows my mind, and I just appreciate Shohei. You know, the saying is, you know, if a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it, did it happen? He was amazing in Anaheim. He was right down the road, and I didn't appreciate him. Now that I get to see this man play every day, I'm just in awe of Shohei. I'm in awe of him.
Yeah, it's a culture though, and we see that it's a big culture difference with the Japanese people, and so you see that, and that's, you know, some of the islanders, the Cubans, the Puerto Ricans, more the Dominicans and the Cubans and the Puerto Ricans, but the Dominicans and the Cubans, they kind of have like this, you know, this this arrogance to
Yeah.
them, right? Where they feel because they were the best player on their island
Yeah.
that they can come now here and that doesn't jive with the fans from other teams.
They want to do a lot of slap ass. They like
Yeah.
to slap ass.
But
No,
I'm glad you're enjoying Otani because
I
he
am.
is phenomenal.
I am. So
Let me ask you this. I want to ask you
Yeah.
something real quick on Otani.
Yeah.
Because don't answer as a Dodger fan.
Oh,
answer
no, yeah.
answer as a baseball fan. You're pretty good with
Yeah, I'm
with
good.
this.
I'm good. I'm really good about that.
When we go down and let's say this is the only version you're going to get of Otani from here on out. You're not going to get him pitching, okay?
Yeah.
So you guys throw that out the window. When we look back, let's say 15 years from now,
Mhm.
and to where would you rank him as an all-time player?
So the more stuff I see and the more documentaries I see, I understand the brilliance or the just what Barry Bonds was. Barry Bonds, and he explains it so easy, right? The way Barry Bonds hit, he explained it as simple as
So good,
playing catch with a bat. Now think about that. When you play catch, it seems very simple. Your glove just goes to the ball. Barry Bonds explained how he could hit so well. He just played catch, not with the glove, but with his bat. And his numbers, you talk to Maddox, I don't care who the fuck you talk to. He is steroids, no steroids, I don't give a shit. Barry Bonds to me is the best baseball player of all time. Now, what Shohei has done, I want to put him, God, man, there's some really good. I'm trying to think, I have a admiration, but the way he's been clutch in these last 2 years, the way he shines in the moment is almost unheard of in a game where failure is the norm and expectations are the norm. Just in 2 years now, I went to his bobblehead night when they were down 5-1 and he hits a walk-off. It's almost expected at this point what he does. And I don't even remember Bonds being this clutch.
Ooh, I don't know, man.
But just because he wasn't given the opportunity, Rafa, a lot of times.
That's the thing.
But he also didn't have Freddie Freeman hitting behind him and Mookie Betts. You put two former MVPs and all-stars behind Barry Bonds. I mean, he had Jeff Kent hitting fucking behind him.
Jeff Kent was an MVP.
And Andy Van Slyke. I just think I don't know if he can continue this run.
And I asked you this, I'll tell you why before you finish your answer. Because he's not playing the field. So he's not playing the field. Does that kind of come into his all-time greatness of him not playing the field? If he was let's just say he doesn't play the field for the remainder of his career.
Yeah.
And he doesn't pitch. And he only stays as a DH. Can we put him up there with Barry?
So my next person I was going to say was Ken Griffey Jr. And Ken Griffey Jr. had a stint where he was maybe the best outfielder
on the planet.
Like his highlights were just as impressive in the outfield as his beautiful fucking swing was with his hat backwards. I do think it's a factor, Rafa, but what's more impressive than being a good left fielder, center fielder, third baseman is being a pitcher. It's a skill.
Oh, it's no doubt about it.
Yeah,
that's why. But I'm asking you if he
never pitches again.
If he never pitches again, because I believe if he comes back and pitches, he will still be able to hit. Because we've seen him do it.
Yeah,
I just don't think he can be as elite as he's been the last year and 2 months.
Yeah,
and he was, but he's getting the years start to add up, obviously, right?
Well, the Dodgers need him to pitch.
They need him. They need him to pitch, yes, but they also need him to play left field or right field or probably left, right? Because they need a fucking outfielder. But I don't know if I can put him with Barry and Griffey and the likes of those guys, maybe
Yeah.
Chipper Jones, like Ichiro,
Mike
up there.
Schmidt,
yes,
like
that upper echelon. I think he would be second tier, right below that, right? And we still have to include Willie Mays because
yes,
he was great in his era and beyond great, beyond, and he
Yeah.
played against other black people. So
I think it's a 100% valid question. I think recency bias. Most people will say, "Oh, best baseball player they've ever seen," but I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. So I think time will tell if he never pitches again. By the way, I hope he never pitches again.
I mean,
You
me
know,
too. I think so too. I'd
but
like
I
to
think-
see him play the field. Maybe first base when Freddie's done. Maybe
Yeah.
left field.
Yeah. And by the way, Freddie, what he's doing, you know what? I get a lot of people hate the Dodgers. I get it. But you can't hate Freddie Freeman. Mookie Betts, although very zesty at times, also a very good human. Will Smith, look at his numbers. Underrated because his name is Will Smith and he just looks like the dude, selling lumber at the lumber yard. And Theo Oscar also led the league in RBIs before he got hurt. It's a well put together team. Andy Friedman is a fucking genius, and his work is not done. It's this team is in trouble. It's in trouble because of pitching. They always say, what do they say in the playoffs, Rafa? Great pitching beats great hitting. Is that not the saying?
That's the saying.
There you
That
go.
is the saying.
There you
So-
go. Philly's good. Arizona good. Chicago. Chicago looks really good. The Mets. And then the Yankees. Baseball's great. This is fucking great.
Well, that was my question on Ohtani. I wanted to ask that. So
It's a great question.
the Tigers, by the way, who's nobody's talking about, are fucking 16 games over 500.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's
fucking crazy. But that is it for baseball. CJ, I don't know if you have anything else to touch on. Eddie, what are you guys thinking?
I don't know.
you know what? I think I touched everything I needed to touch.
You touched on black quarterbacks.
Black
you-
mobile
All right.
quarterback.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, Eddie's touched black mobile quarterbacks and
Yep.
and OJ here
And OJ,
tonight.
Many times.
Several times.
OJ here tonight.
Yeah. No. Rich Dice asked me a question today. If I'm buying into the social media, and it happens every year with every team, the clips of the 7-on-7 or the air-on-air, Geno Smith throwing to Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty changing his running back stance. Have I bought into the Raiders being good? I'm going to say no. Last year I didn't buy into it, but every other year, about this time, everyone's feeling really positive about their team.
Real quick, we didn't touch on this, and I'd love to hear because we have CJ on the Brock Purdy contract.
Whoa!
We didn't touch on Brock. By the way, they paid Brock and they paid Warner.
Warner. They're friends
Yes,
too.
we will. This will be our last topic. I promise. CJ, our resident gangbanger. Whatever. We both said gangbanger at the same time.
Y'all both said it in unison.
Yeah.
This is what he deserves. It's what he deserves. He's taken us to 2 NFC titles. He's taken us to a Super Bowl. He was one block away from winning us the Super Bowl. And
What did he take you to last year? Sorry to interrupt you. What did he take you to last year?
With a completely depleted team throwing to a guy who was shot 2 months prior as his best wide receiver, he took us nowhere because
Also white.
the rest of white.
Just asking.
So when he has the entire team and he doesn't have the team that looks like the Raiders, he has a team that looks like the Niners, he takes us, great places. And so I think that this is what he did. Don't say anything, Rafa. Let me finish. I see that hand raising. I think that this is what he deserves. And at the end of the day, now I expect to see results. And I'm going to hold him to the fire. And hopefully, I believe he will get us back to where we need to be.
I want to say this, and Eddie will probably agree with me. Why? I'm actually asking you guys a question. Why do the Niners not get the same slack that the Cowboys get for not winning a Super Bowl in the last 3 decades?
I'll tell you why. The very simple answer, because for 2 of the last 3 years, they had the most talented roster. Vegas 2 years ago had him as a favorite in every game preseason. They had the best roster, and it wasn't even close, Rafa. That's why.
Okay, that's what I thought. But you still got to bring it up because the Cowboys fans, you'll see on Instagram, they always bring up the Niners and so on.
No, it's true, but I do think they do get slack. I do think
they get it.
Yeah, they get slack. And John Lynch, by the way, I feel like if you look at his draft history, he's sort of missed on a lot. Yeah.
We could talk about drafting an FCS quarterback in the year that Trevor Lawrence was in the draft.
Yes. Okay, can I give my take on it real quick?
Let's do it. Let's hear it.
So he got $53 million a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
$53 million a year. The reason why, because I have many clips saying, do not give Brock Purdy $55 million a year. I wouldn't do it. You can go. I have like 3 or 4 clips. 53 is the new 48 with the salary cap. 53 is not really 53. And on top of that, and here's my biggest issue. Well, Dak got it. Trevor Lawrence got it. Tua got it. So Brock should get it. I understand that logic. But who in their right minds thinks that the 4 guys I just mentioned is a good contract?
No, and I agree with you because I hate the fact that in the NFL, and fans believe this, and I hear it from fans, I hear it from a couple people all the time. Well, he's the next guy, and you always pay the next guy whose contract is due. And I think that's where the NFL's always made a mistake, is paying that guy, because you saw it with Trevor Lawrence, you saw it with Tua, you saw it, and Lamar got that money. Lamar's done great. But it's always, this guy got it. So now this guy's up and he's due. And I think the Niners did a good job of not giving him all of the money.
I agree.
Because he's the next guy.
I agree.
I think they did a good job there on that, because I hate that next guy bullshit. Oh, he's just so good but he's not the best guy. The best guy, and that's the problem with the NFL that I've always had with them, is that the best guy should always be the highest paid. And I'm not talking about, we're restructuring shit. No, we're not doing that. But if the best guy is Patrick Mahomes and his deal is $280 million, I can't give you $282 just because you're the next guy that deserves a contract when you're not better than the one guy. So I think the Niners did a great job.
I do. I know 53 sounds outrageous, but it really is the new 48. It really is. And don't be surprised if one of these 10 guys gets drafted by the 49ers, because it's not a very long term, if I believe. Isn't there is a 4th year an option?
Something like that.
Right.
So what was guaranteed, like 150 something? Yeah, if you can pull that up.
I hate to be labeled as a Brock Purdy hater because he's such a good person and the story's so good. And I am labeled as a Brock Purdy hater. I'm just a Brock Purdy realist, is like I like to put it. I don't
listen.
Is that bad, CJ?
Look, Eddie. No. It's not that. I understand where Eddie comes from, because when you watch him play, you don't see Joe Burrow. You don't see Patrick Mahomes. You don't see Lamar. You don't see those
No.
guys.
Josh
Those-
Allen.
You don't see Josh
No.
Allen. I mean, there's a list of guys you may not
Right,
see.
you can go down the list.
You can go down the list. You may not see Jordan Love, but the accomplishment of the team with him playing the position
Yeah.
have been there. That is why I believe that you cannot knock him because he's accomplished those things as the quarterback. It's not like he was Trent Dilfer and it was a 1 year they won the Super Bowl. It's not that. That's the problem that I have with Brock. When Eddie talks shit about him, because to me he's done what he's been asked to do, with the exception of winning a Super Bowl. He's done everything else. He's done more than a lot of those guys that we say are. Josh Allen is superior to Brock Purdy, but he's not gotten to a Super Bowl. Brock Purdy has gotten to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow went to one Super Bowl and he's faded. Although his defense has been bad or whatever, he hasn't made a playoff in a handful of years now. And so, but he's a better quarterback, yes. Is he a better accomplished quarterback? Is he a better team accomplished quarterback? No, he's not. And it wasn't a one-hit wonder that he got to the NFC title game. The very next year, he took the team to the Super Bowl. That's the thing. Joe Burrow went to the Super Bowl. Next year made the playoffs. He hasn't made the playoffs in 2 years after. I'm not saying Brock Purdy's better. There's no doubt about it that Joe Burrow is completely better than him. So when you watch Brock Purdy play, you're not watching Joe Burrow. You're not watching Josh Allen. You're watching Brock Purdy, a guy who doesn't have the talents of Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, etc. But he wins football games when they mean something. For the most part, he's gotten to those games. That's the thing why I believe that he deserved what he got, and why I believe that he is one of the better quarterbacks in the league, because he's been able to accomplish things. That's all. I understand your side of it,
CJ,
that he's not that good.
so I always like, why is Will Hanley always defending Brock Purdy? And then I look
He's
at
from
his
Iowa State.
Yeah, he went to Iowa State.
Iowa State.
So we should do. Can you pull up the top 15 quarterbacks? Brock Purdy and can we end on it before CJ? You had something to say on Brock Purdy, because you are.
Yeah.
And Will, are you did you love Brock Purdy at Iowa State?
Yes. Brock Purdy at Iowa State was good.
No.
He was really good.
No, I'm asking Will, who went to Iowa State, not you.
I thought you was asking me.
Dude, by the way,
Didn't love.
Brock Purdy, didn't
Yes, I
Brock
did.
Purdy, dude,
You
Brock
didn't
Purdy
think
won
Brock
Eddie.
Purdy.
Didn't
Brock
he?
Purdy was
Loved him.
hard at Iowa State.
Bro, didn't Brock Purdy beat Oregon in a bowl game?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Ain't no one got time for that.
Well, I said loved him full glaze.
All right.
Full Diddy, dude.
all right.
I'll send you some fucking.
Brock Purdy, would you rather top 15 NFL quarterbacks currently? in the
Let's
NFL?
go. And I promise this is it. Let's go.
Brock Purdy or Patrick Mahomes?
Patrick Mahomes.
Skip.
Brock Purdy or Lamar Jackson?
Skip.
Brock Purdy or Joe Burrow?
Burrow.
Brock Purdy or Josh Allen?
Josh Allen.
Brock Purdy or Jaden Daniels?
For me,
Jaden
for
Daniels.
for me, it's
Stop it.
For me, it's Brock Purdy. I'm sorry.
Oh my God. He
For me,
went it almost one game less rookie year. One game less than Brock Purdy.
For me, it's Brock Purdy.
That's a horrible take, Rafa.
I'm just telling you. For me, it's Brock Purdy. I'm sorry.
That's wrong. Your opinion is wrong.
Brock
Your opinion
Purdy, Brock Purdy or Jalen Hurts?
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts for me too. Brock Purdy or Justin Herbert?
Brock Purdy.
Justin Herbert.
Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy or Jared Goff?
Brock Purdy.
Jared Goff.
I think I would take Jared Goff.
Not me.
Brock Purdy or Dak Prescott?
Dak.
Dak Prescott.
It's hard for me, but Dak. Brock Purdy or Baker Mayfield?
Brock Purdy.
Baker
Eddie
all day.
loves Baker.
Eddie loves Baker.
He
Loves
loves
Baker
Baker.
Mayfield.
After Baker fucked him in his ass right
Yeah.
there at SoFi, he loves Baker.
It's-
he
Baker
did
came
it
into
so
the
bad
Rams.
that he made him love him.
yeah.
Baker
It's,
came into the Rams. And
you know
with
why?
no
He's the
practice.
he's the whitest black mobile quarterback in the league.
I'd take Brock.
Carry the one.
Zach, I gotta keep the show. I gotta keep the show fucking good, bro. Come on, man. He's talking about me taking him over Dak, but not
Brock
over
Purdy,
Daniels.
Brock Purdy or Matthew Stafford?
Man,
For
that's
me,
daddy.
Matthew Stafford.
Matthew
Yeah,
Stafford.
Matthew Stafford. Brock Purdy or CJ Stroud?
Brock Purdy.
Brock
All
Purdy.
day. All day.
Eddie, seriously?
no, I haven't said anything yet. Ugh.
What? Think about it.
It's Happy Feet or
He
Brock
was
Purdy.
so bad. He was so bad last year. I'm gonna go Brock Purdy. He was
You
so
have
bad
to.
last year.
You have
He
to
was
after
so
last
bad
season.
last year. Although he won a playoff game last year, by the way,
Yeah.
and blew
Brock Purdy or
that
Jordan
team
Love?
out. Jordan Love,
Jordan Love.
and that's
Jordan
it.
Love. Brock Purdy or Tua?
Oh, Brock Purdy. 2 is awful.
Tua's garbage.
I'm gonna say Brock Purdy.
That's it.
So
I-
he's
so
like
Eddie-
top 12 for Eddie.
Dude, you had him like top 5, dude. Like,
I had
fuck.
dude, Eddie. I have Brock Purdy about the 7th or 8th best
So
quarterback.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I would
And
probably put him. He's closer
he's
to 10 for me,
underpaid then,
probably.
Rafa.
He's
You
not
should
under.
say-
He's not.
you
He's
should
not.
send him
It's
some
the
money.
context. You got to put
He's-
in the context of the situation.
He's not underpaid. I'm going based off of what he's done, and like I just told you, he's done more than Josh Allen.
Ooh,
Josh
that's
Allen's
a good
compared.
one, Zach. That's a good one, Zach.
Brock Purdy, are you kidding? Bo
Brock
Nix is
Purdy,
gonna
are
fucking
you
have
kidding me? Brock Purdy every day, twice on Sundays.
bro.
Bro.
Bo Nix one hit wondered that shit this year, last season.
Oh man, he was so athletic.
I can never claim a sophomore quarterback to be better than a guy who's been to
We
a
know,
Super Bowl.
yeah. You
know that.
you were touched by all your teachers sophomore year. You hate sophomore anything.
I don't think I went to school sophomore year.
Well, that could
My
also
goodness gracious.
be a thing.
You need to join
Well,
us. Whoop.
We just did another 3 hours on absolutely nothing. We had a script.
We
had
are
a
the
script.
Seinfeld. We are
We
the
had a-
Seinfeld of fucking podcast.
It
We
takes
had
one
4
word. It
topics.
takes one
We
word
had-
for a 45-minute tangent.
Jeez, man.
Bro, that's
I-
listen. We covered OJ tonight. We covered
Yes.
we covered Black how Eddie touches
Black
Black
mobile.
Black mobile quarterbacks.
Black Moon,
Yes.
yeah.
That's what he prefers.
Yes.
Mhm.
We covered Otani's greatness.
Baker Mayfield is the whitest black mobile quarterback in the league.
We covered Cholos on Figueroa.
We covered black women. Fuck,
We
dude.
figured out
I forgot about that.
We did
That was
cover
early.
black women.
Like
that was
3 hours.
so bad.
I feel
hope-
like Ryan Clark got off the hook on this show.
He did it, but he did a little bit. He didn't get as much smoke as he probably deserved.
he should have.
He
He
deserves more smoke. He deserves
Yeah.
more smoke.
He's getting it. Don't worry.
All right.
He's
Well, guys, last words. Thanks. First of all, thanks to Rick calling me out. I stopped growing in 5th grade. It's a true thing. Will, ride or die. I can't wait for Brock Purdy to suck this year and throw it all in your guys' face. Zach.
Any better hopes Brock Purdy never makes it to an NFC championship ever again.
Oh my God. And while we're leaving, this one right here, this is the star.
Hey!
you got a grandbaby in the house.
Yeah.
Hey, mama,
Rafa saying hello.
how are you?
Good.
What's going
Say
on?
hi to everybody.
What takes you to Downey?
Brock Purdy's not a good quarterback.
I'm going to Disneyland
Oh
tomorrow.
my God! There
He
it
can't
is.
even say Brock Purdy's not a good
This is
quarterback.
not
No,
the truth.
she
She
can't
can't
even
see-
say it.
She's not a liar. That's the thing.
All right. Well,
She
guys,
can't even say it.
Hi.
I'm sorry, Mama. Guys,
Zach says
another-
Presley says hi.
oh, Presley says hi. She said hi to you. So, guys, see, Presley said hi. Oh, she can't reach. She's 4. Another episode 135 in the books.
Clip that, please. Please
Yes.
clip that. Oh man, so good.
Rick, Will, Michelle, anyone who contributed, we love you guys. Next
Zach.
week, will I be in South Carolina?
So Eddie will be playing golf in South Carolina. I hope we got to ask Ryan. I would, if he has time, I
Yeah.
would love to talk to Ryan because I love arguing with Ryan Holmes.
Yes.
He's
There's-
so good.
It'll be
Because Ryan's so
Are
good.
you placing me as your favorite argumentating black?
No,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
no, because you and I agree on a lot of
I-
things. So Ryan is
That's
1,000%,
true. That's
and
true.
and
That's
Ryan
true.
is real black, and you kind of the Choctaw and Mexican and all that shit.
Wow. How is
So-
Ryan more black than I am? I just want to.
Have you
Because
seen
he-
him?
Have you seen him? Yeah,
His uncle was Larry Holmes, man.
yeah.
That's
Come
a
on,
stupid
man.
question.
But hopefully Ryan Holmes comes on
Yeah.
and we can argue for a little bit, and we can argue LeBron and Jordan for a whole 2 hours if you want.
Oh yeah. That
Yeah,
no, that's happening.
Wear a
That's happening.
two-rack, CJ. Yes, for sure, and we can.
Too black for me, sir. Too black for me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh man, but
All
great job, Eddie. Thank you, appreciate it.
DJ, last words, Papa. I appreciate you, CJ, showing up. Eddie Money's coming with some plátanos stuck up in his ass or something. I don't know. Something weird.
Whoa!
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've had too much wine. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Anybody's coming back with plátanos in his ass is the
Yes.
comment to end the show. Holy moly, Eddie Money, man!
Wow.
My bad. Sorry, Eddie Money.
Wow, and CJ's
All right,
gonna
man.
remove it when he gets home.
All right, guys.
Have a good one.